Hello and welcome to another office hours, not office hours, Captain's Table. This is another Captain's Table where I bring people from all over the Star Citizen universe to talk about Star Citizen. And I'm going to fix my camera because I've had to change my camera since I last did this. Let's give myself some more headroom. There we go. So yeah, this is a kind of a retrospective, though technically IAE isn't done yet. We still have about 5 days left, including the best in show. And we may get some new kind of content for IAE beyond that, but we have to see. But before we get into all this, let's talk about, let's introduce the two guests on today. Let's start with Major Starstuff. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? Where can they find you?
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Major Starstuff. I am fairly new to the Star Citizen content game, I suppose. I've been with the game itself for almost 2 years now. Well, one and a half years. I think I hit Concierge earlier this year. And after a bit of a break for a few weeks, I found out that combining my professional background as a language specialist and language consultant and my in-game, in-law passion for the Banu language might be a thing I worth exploring. So that's what I've been doing with Hello Cat, with what I've been exploring over on YouTube at Major Starstuff. If you're interested in the Banu language, go and check that out. I guess that's all there's to say about me really right now.
Nice.
And I drink tea. That's really the only other thing.
She's trying to go off and do some damage. She's a wrecking ball. There he goes. All right. and it's Major. Is it Major underscore Star Stuff, or is it Major Star Stuff all one word?
It's just Major Star Stuff all in one word. But
okay.
Yeah, just look up Major Star Stuff on the interwebs, and you'll find me.
All right, Buster. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
BusterTheDestroyer. No, I'm Buster. I play Star Citizen. I've been in March. I'll have been with Star Citizen for 8 years. Isn't that crazy? Oof. I know for some of you that's like barely anything, but yeah. But anyway, I've been playing it for 8 years. I've been streaming it for about 5 this year, and yeah, I do a bunch of stuff. I stream Star Citizen, like I said. I do other games too, and then I have a thing called the Cocktail Channel where I make drinks. And this week we actually made one from the G-Lock menu on which is at Area 18 on ArcCorp, and it's called the Randy Martian. It's very excellent. I highly recommend you make it.
Nice. And that's on
do it the way I told you.
Is it on YouTube?
No, it's like on my Twitter. It's TikTok. We're on TikTok, Instagram, and then I posted it on my personal Twitter too. So if you follow me there, you can find it there.
Awesome.
So there. Yeah.
All right.
But anyway, that's me.
Let's talk about the overall opinions of IAE. Buster, since you've been making content for a very long time, and since your last one to introduce yourself, let's start with you. What are your thoughts on this year's IAE overall?
First of all, I love the aesthetics of this year's IAE because I'm a huge fan of purple. So the purple, top tier purple going on this year. I'm a big fan of it, and I know Paul probably was too.
Oh yeah.
So that is a big highlight for me, is just the look of it. And the lighting. The lighting's been excellent this year because they put the purple lighting on the downside of the ships. So it kind of gives them an appearance when you're getting like walking toward them that they're purple, and you go, wait a second. And so I really love that. I love lighting details because I used to be a lighting designer myself. So for concerts and stuff. So I very much appreciate good lighting always. But I mean, I know there's been a lot of ship sales going on that probably a lot of people have been enjoying. I don't necessarily buy ships myself.
Yeah.
All the time. So that's cool. Like cool. But I'm good. I have self-control. So I'm good. And a car payment now. Yeah. So but yeah, overall I've been enjoying, like I said, the aesthetics a lot. I always enjoy IAE just because it's fun, it's cool. You get to go rent the ships, you get to go try stuff that maybe you haven't tried before. or fly stuff that you haven't flown in a long time is one of the big ones for me. And then, let's be honest about my gameplay here. I'm a nice troll. I'm a sweet troll. And so I'll say I'm a little disappointed. Like I've tried to do a little bit of in-game like VoIP and goofing around, and I haven't really gotten much out of people this year. So I've been a little disappointed in that personally.
There's a reason why for that. CIG has default locked people out of talking in VoIP. So you have to go in. Yeah, you have to go into your mobile.
He's gonna hit on people and ask them if it's a coda in their pocket or if they're happy to see me. Like I feel suppressed.
Yeah, you have to go in and actually attach it. So, yep.
Look, I'll be nice about it now. I'll stay nice about it. But all I'm saying, I get why they would do something like that, so that people would have to go. Yeah, but I get that. But okay. I wish somebody had told me about this like 2 weeks ago. So
I only found out about it like the first or second day, because I was trying to talk.
Next time, okay.
I'll let you know.
Going policy from here on out. Everybody in the community, everybody. This is everybody. Paul, everybody. Okay. If something's going on with VoIP, somebody's got to tell me, because I don't want to be a fool just trying to talk in game and it ain't working. Like
Buster,
I said, we can't deprive the people of me, okay, and the things I say. So anyway,
it's still one of my favorite shorts is when you ran into Zero at one of the events and you were like, "Hey baby, did you fall from the L?"
Did it hurt when you fell from OM1?
Yeah. And I remember seeing the short and Zero just going.
He just turns around again and he goes, "Buster, you." I said, yeah, who else would be saying stuff like that? And he goes, I didn't have it on my IAE bingo card that I would get hit on by BusterTheDestroyer. So yeah. So don't hold me back. Don't hold me back. Coffee knows.
So let her know. And DJ Knight, I think, is on that list, and Cord is on that list. You let them know when VoIP and FOIP is working properly.
Y'all tell me. That's the rules. It's part of. We're putting it in the terms of service of CIG games. Okay, it's in the terms of service of Star Citizen. It's TOS. Somebody tell me personally. Goddamn.
Major, your overall thoughts of IAE this year? My overall thoughts about IAE. I mean, of course, it has been my second IAE only, obviously. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's that time of the year where we all buy those ships or try to hunt down those missing CCUs that we need for our chains, right? That's basically what I've been doing all week. To be honest, the one thing, and that was kind of what the thing that I was most excited about this week was a MISC day, because I had 2 Prowler to Hull D CCUs in my hangar, which increased from 450 to 550 this week. So that enabled me to grab that Liberator and that what is right now a Carrack, and then a few CCUs to potential larger ships. So the CCU game and the Star Citizen game it has been for me this week. But other than that, I think just checking out the floor, right? That's always nice. As Buster said, the purple color theme, I think that was really, really nice. I mean, even looking from out of New Babbage, like the huge light thingy, what do you call it there, right? That was the light beam, the hologram there. That was really spectacular. I think, or that's how I feel. We are still post CitizenCon hype a little bit, I think. So that for me translated a little bit to added to the excitement of this year's IAE. Insofar, not only ship buying, CCU buying, but also it's a great time to be a Star Citizen supporter, and but to be honest, it's mostly been hunting CCUs and putting standalone ships in buybacks to lock the price and stuff like that this week for me. So and then of course we had the influencer style videos, I suppose, but we're probably going to talk about them.
We're talking about those in a moment.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, this felt more like an in-game event than in previous IAEs. There's more stuff on the floor that felt right, and more than just ships were there, and more than the sales. It felt like it's the first step to evolve this event beyond just rent some ships on the floor and other stuff like that. So,
it was also the first time. I mean, only my second time anyway, but it was also a time when we could play the game on relatively stable servers. I'm not sure how it's been for everybody else, but we had like a few hiccups here and there, but much less lag as I would have anticipated with all the free fly people coming in, right?
Oh yeah.
So servers felt really healthy this week.
So let's start off with the negative, and then we'll move on to the positive. Starting with you, Major. What are some of the negatives of this IAE? Things that you didn't like from this IAE?
Ooh, that's a tough one, really. I should have come prepared with a few negatives. No, that's a tough one, really.
I can move to Buster and come back to you if you need to.
Yeah, maybe move to Buster and come back.
Okay, Buster, negatives. As you're eating your food.
I was just having some little crackers. Again, well, I just discussed one. My VoIP not working.
Yeah.
I just sat there and talked in the VoIP all the time. Had no clue about that. Again, I understand why they would do something like that, but it's your job, chat. Now you got to tell me when something's going on with VoIP. But I would say that to me, that's like the biggest fun thing in Free Fly is all these new people coming in and having the ability to kind of hear them and like hear the more, everybody talk when they do talk. But I would say that, and this has always been a thing with me, and I will agree that like the new stuff that was added, like you, Paul, you were to your point about, this time it's felt a little more evolved. But on the flip side of that, I've always wished, because there were some, we'll talk about it in the positives, what I'm specific about too. But I've always wished that there was something a bit more interactive at IAE. Whether it's like some kind of like mini game of some sort, I don't know, just things to like do at IAE other than like walk up to stuff and look at it. Which is cool. I enjoy that, but I just wish there was something to do.
Yeah, like because at normal conventions, there's stuff that happens, right? Even at like
and I know it's like a lot to ask. I know it's not something that like, oh, they can just throw something in. But like for me, one of the coolest things in the game are those little arcade consoles. Why not have like those actually functioning in game one day? And that'd be something like a little arcade at the IAE. Or I don't know, just something to do. Even like a quiz. Like you could do like an in-game quiz or something.
Yeah.
At a little kiosk or whatever. Just something to do there. That you get to interact with the environment a bit more. That's all.
Yeah, like a little scavenger hunt, something like that. Every day you go off to find a specific location for like to like scan or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, and I would like to see it move. It's been at New Babbage for what, like 2-3 years now. Yeah,
I think so.
I feel like it keeps staying at New Babbage, which I understand if it's like easier to like process. It's like the best space to do it in. As far, I understand like for the logical reasons why it works for them. Not that I know those reasons, but I could understand those reasons if they were told to me. But it just would be nice to like go to other places in the game, more often. So, and I know what is it? We do Invictus at ArtCorp. Don't we do that at ArtCorp? So if they're splitting it,
sometimes it's at ArtCorp, sometimes it's at Orison. So
yeah, and then of course you can't do anything at Hurston. That would be terrible. I don't know why anybody would have a convention there.
Well, they had IAE. They had IAE at Lorville for like 4 times when it first started off because it was the only place they had.
Oh, right,
at the very beginning
right.
Was, yeah.
Right, so. But it doesn't make sense canonically now.
No. Major, you thought of any kind of negatives?
Yeah, I came up with two sort of negatives. Yeah. No, I think the obvious one, and I guess that's going to be easy to fix for next year. Sorry, what's the proper name of the tours that you do on the floor?
Oh, the lore tours. Yeah.
The lore tours. I think an easy fix would be for those to appear officially in game on screens, right? Like on the floor, we need big screens with the lore tours live streamed into the game.
Well, I mean, you joke, but I think definitely having some sort of like panel where you can push a button, because one year at IAE at Invictus they had that but it was only for like one ship, where it's like one thing. It was like going to every ship and pushing a button and being like, the RSI constellation was first built, and that sort of thing makes a little bit more sense.
Exactly, like, and it's kind of connected to my second point. Like more an idea of how generally to improve the experience. I feel there's always this disconnect between the IAE floor in game and then the website experience. I mean, it's a general thing, and it's not something easy to fix. Also, do we want them to put resources into fixing that when there's other priorities maybe, and we want to But I think that they could find out ways, or even involve the community. That the community hub, that's basically, quite frankly, I don't want to say it's dead, but maybe use that community hub in a way that like implements some of the community hub content in integrated into the game. I don't know how. So, but it's probably not a short-term thing, but in the long run, I think there's ways to make the whole experience more interactive and connect the various platforms more, like the website or the community hub and the in-game experience. I think that would be a nice thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think both you and Buster kind of hitting on the same idea, which is like making it an event, make it something where we can go in and do something, right? Not just sit there and buy ships or rent ships. It needs to have some interactivity, because it's a video game, and you want it like an event to feel like an event, And I would say, I know that can be a pain in the ass because it's like a lot of work, but I also like my counter to this argument, because I've had some people who get very passionate about like, it doesn't need to be changed, it's fine. My counter argument is like, once they've built the modules for something like IAE, they can run those same modules over and over and over again, those same mission modules over and over and over again, updated every so often, but they can also replace them, put them into like Invictus or other events they want to do that throughout the year. So it's a front load thing where they'd have to do some work, but once they've done that work, it's just a maintaining thing rather than a brand new fix every year. So, and they seem to be at a position where they could probably do that. So that would be my biggest concern. I think, honestly, overall, it's the best best IAE I've experienced ever. And a couple of things go a long way to that. But I love the cargo and the mining displays. Those were cool little additions, like they kind of flesh out the universe a little bit more. Because they even have like little models and stuff like that, so it's pretty nice.
And you can see oh, sorry, Buster, go ahead.
Go ahead.
And the prospect, I think, is a great example how it's presented there, like right with the mining beam active. That's like, maybe a little bit more of that, like instead of ship, open, go in, check out, close, go along.
Actual showing
just add
off,
a little bit of that interactivity, or more like adding some sort of scenery that adds to the whole experience. Yeah.
You could also do things like example, they could have sim pods where you could go for like the mining experience, and you hop in a sim pod and they have a small little thing where you have to go like a little tutorial where you go through how to mine rocks or something like that, and you could reuse that for future tutorials as well. But it's a kind of nice little like presented by the United Resource Workers Union, where like showing off what it's like to be a miner, or what it's like to do loading cargo or stuff like that. Little small stuff like that.
Especially for the new players, right? Who do not know what is a prospector and what do I use it for? What is a Valkyrie? What is a constellation Andromeda versus a Taurus? Of course you've got the plates and they come with the information, but
Yeah. I'll start with you on this one, Major Starstuff. What are the good ones? What was the good parts about this? We've talked about the bad. What's the good?
Yeah. Obviously, the Hull C, the Hull D going up in price.
Saves you money. The CCU chains.
I think I was. I've got another negative one. I forgot, which is probably was naive to expect. But the rumors about a Mirai heavy fighter.
Yeah.
That was so. But I think the new concept ships look great, or the straight to flight Sulan. I think is an amazing ship. That was obviously as one of the xenophiles here in the room. That was really great. I think that was probably my highlight even. It's not my ship because it's not Banu, but I think and those of you who watched the video where they interviewed the guy who was the main developer behind the ship, I think you can see the passion behind making this ship. I think it's whether it's your style or not, whether it's your type of ship or not, but I think you'll have to. This is the way they pulled this one off shows the passion of the people behind it, and so much attention to detail, like the Xi'an writing. The overall design, I think, very unique. Also, the liftoff and with our muscle memories, used to W is forward, S is backward, and now it's W and is up and S is downward. A little bit confusing at first. So I think the Sulan was definitely my highlight in terms of ships, and I feel like the Arastra got a little bit. Or maybe it got more attention than I realized, but I feel like it's here now. Everyone was excited about it, So
okay.
And what else was good about IAE? As I mentioned earlier, I think the servers felt fairly stable. That was definitely a surprise. My org mates and me, we got to play a little bit during this IAE. What last time I think we didn't really get to because there was more server lag. So I think the whole experience. I want to say there's nothing that really stuck out that much, but it was an overall well-balanced experience. I think I'd say if I had to rate it, I'd say a solid 8 out of 10. Experience. That's
okay. Buster, goods and bads, or goods. We started talking about bads. What are the goods of IAE?
I know what you meant.
Yeah.
I would say. I talked a lot about a lot of positives on kind of like how did I like the beginning question. I would say that I'd like the addition of like the mining and the cargo displays contributed for sure. I think it was nice to see something that was like it looked a bit more like a trade expo. Or not a trade expo, but just an expo in general. It looked a bit more like that, like, oh, cool, like I'm at the Discovery Center when I'm a kid kind of thing. And I mentioned earlier I wanted more interactivity, so that kind of goes with that a little bit. I would say, I don't know. I mean, it's a positive experience. It's hard for me to think of specifics. I feel like I covered a lot of mine earlier. I mean, yeah, it's a fun time. It's that time of year. I mean, it's not until we get to Jax and all that I really like. That's where I have a lot to say.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next. So you want to just go right into that?
Yeah. What are your positives?
Well, my positives in general are it felt like a more of an expo than we've had in the past.
Exactly.
It felt like they were trying to improve it, which is nice.
Yeah, like it's growing. It's a shoot. There's a positive. It's nice to see like, oh, this is. I look forward to next year because I think it's gonna have even more.
Yeah.
Like je ne sais quoi, that kind of thing.
The more they can bring
specify? Oh, sorry. Could you specify for like people like me? Like it's only been my second IAE, and I'm trying to think what was different this year compared to last year, and I can't think of that many differences. Would you
Good question.
if you sorry?
Okay.
That's a good question.
I would
So
say
for you, you're probably thinking back like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years back, right? And
Yeah.
then for you, it's a major difference. Pun
Every
intended.
year was last year in Star Citizen.
Yeah.
yeah. So the first IAE was just ships on the floor. They had like big, like almost like dividers between them, but it was just like a giant. It looked like a giant hangar. It didn't look like a convention center. And they did that for like 2 years, and then they brought in the current convention center design, and it's pretty much the same convention center design they've done since then. I think it's been slightly changed here and there, which improved it a lot. But it was just ships on the floor with Jax videos, which is kind of a combination. I would say this year, we'll talk about the Jax stuff, but I think the addition of their little brochure that they did, that they updated every day, made it feel like, hey, this is what I would see at an actual a convention. They give out those little brochures and you kind of talk about various aspects of what you're looking at. And so it kind of gives a little bit more immersion. The only thing I would say for that is CIG, please put it in game. Like, that would be a good idea. But which had those videos, which we'll talk about in a bit, which went a long way to kind of making it feel like an expo. And then you had the trade expo areas, which was nice to kind of have because it used to be just kind of empty space. Now it's actually filled with actual like props, and it feels like again like more immersive into the universe. And yeah, I think that's probably the biggest additions for me. Like, because it felt more like they were moving towards that.
It went from being like, hey, look, ships, to being, hey, baby, we got you some ships.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like here's the ships, but here's the context of those ships. Yeah. You know, like an entire article about a medic who uses a C8R, you know, like that's cool because that's like, it gives me an understanding of what the C8R is designed for. You know? So.
Yeah, someone in chat said again the mining display was nice, so that's exactly that, right? Give you context of I
hope they have like a salvage one in the future or something.
Yeah, or
salvage specific,
or like a bounty hunter one in the future, so you can kind of see like how.
Yeah, there's like a million things they could add to it, you know.
Yeah, and they had the cargo displays. Yeah, and those are great because they added context to the.
I think it would be cool. I think what would be cool personally is if I mean, like we should always have IAE, but how cool would it be to have like mannequins with clothes?
Oh yeah,
like more because like those mannequins look really good that they set up in the game. I would love more mannequin stuff. More mannequins, please.
More clothing, please. More than just what we have.
More Kim Control. No, anybody gets that joke.
So, Buster, let's ask you this question. As we know, Jax wasn't here this year, so CIG lied. They lied to all of our faces and said he would return. He didn't return. But we did get, so far, we've got Garmin Humble and
Molly.
I
forget her last name.
Yeah, I think it's just Molly. It's just what she goes with. And we may have more, because in the future we've got, go back to the next page here so I can kind of see it. We have Jimmy Speaks tomorrow. And then the day after that, we've got Speed Freaks Speak, Stanton's 7 hottest racetracks. Then day 12, we've got Tough Love. Yeah, Jimmy Speaks.
What?
Yeah, this is the kind of the thing they're doing for every day. So we've got three different things which may have some interactive videos or some more discussions about what's going on. So we have those. Buster, do you think the loss of the Jax videos is worth these new videos coming in?
Yeah, actually I do, because I think I've seen mixed reviews. I've seen a lot of people really love Garmin Humble, and I've seen a lot more I've seen a lot more negative. I mean, I've seen a lot of positive, but I've seen more negative feedback on Molly.
Yeah.
I think here's the thing is Garmin Humble, let's just get into like men a little bit here. Most of the community's men. Garmin Humble totally appeals to them 100%, and that's fine. He's hilarious. He appeals to everybody. Molly, I can see where that's a little more like that. There's a lot of guys in the world that don't care for that kind of content from,
especially in our community. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't care about that kind of thing in the real world.
Yeah.
And so they sure didn't care for it in the game. But I saw plenty of positive feedback. It's not like it was like just negative. It's just, I'm saying between the two, I saw more negative feedback for her. I thought it was really funny. I thought it was really hilarious. I enjoyed the voiceover person. The person who did the voiceover was fantastic, and she deserves a lot of credit because she really captured the sound of that kind of person's voice. For sure. But it was totally a satire. It was a satire on travel vloggers. It was wonderful. I thought it was great. Garmin Humble to me was like, remember those like shitty Batman sketches? I think they used to be on College Humor, where Batman's like like he's just a total idiot. That's kind of what Garmin Humble reminded me of, is like silly Batman sketches from back in the day, back in the early 2000s.
I will say he definitely reminded me of like they both were capitalizing on the same idea. Like he feels like a TikTok, like a TikTok cop almost. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go out and do this, and we're gonna do good style for TikTok, and all this sort of like.
It really, I mean, he says he's like a vigilante, so that immediately made me go, okay, Batman. Or whatever, yeah. Batman. He's Batman. Like he's a shitty Batman, and it's hilarious. I loved it. I look forward to the others. Jimmy speaks. I could see how like Jimmy's not going to speak.
No, he's not.
Alert.
No.
I really don't think they're going to put a voice on Jimmy, and they shouldn't. If they're going to put a voice on Jimmy, it has to be like a really, really important Whitley's guy. Like it has to be really a culmination, because Jimmy's been through some crap for that guy and hasn't said a word. So, he's been like shot at and fired at for that guy, and it hasn't said a word. So I think it's going to take a lot to get him to speak. But yeah, I do think I like everybody else was pretty disappointed when the Whitley's Guide announcement, like the cheeky announcement happened where they sort of made it an in-game thing that they weren't doing Jax this year, which since I'm on a bigger platform than my own stream, I've said this on my stream, I want to say this again. During when we got that little communique right on Twitter and everywhere else, that was it was clearly like an email to Jax about hey, please come back for next year. Again, it was their cheeky way of saying we're not doing Whitley's Guide this year. I was one of the people, I don't know if I was the initial person, but I did make the suggestion. Well, was it the SAG-AFTRA protest or strikes that kept y'all from doing it? And please just say it, don't make me hold out hope, because they gave us a red herring last year too. Before. And so I just want to say I'm sorry. I didn't mean for my simple bit of speculation to be something, because I saw somebody posted on the subreddit, and then Tyler Zylo had to post on the subreddit saying, hey, that's not what happened.
I signal boosted you as well, because I also said the same thing.
Yeah, we're sorry.
We're sort of sorry, but I will also say, if the one little feedback, a little bit of show notes for CIG is, it's okay to do an in-lore thing, but if it's especially going to affect gameplay or what people are expecting, make sure you also just tweet below it.
Put a footnote,
by the way, there's no
or have a caption and have the actual Twitter post itself say, hey, we're CIG, we as CIG are sorry to say that, something. I don't care, just a little bit more, because we've got enough because Jax is one of those magical things in this game that we all love, and again, they gave us a red herring before IAE last year, so I think a lot of people took that as a red herring initially. I was hoping it was a red herring. So piece of advice, just be a little more real with us about something we love so much. And I know there's a lot of things people love, but come on, it's Jax. But yeah, I do think overall, it was worth, as much as it sucked to not have Jax, it was really cool to see what another team, I think it was a different team, right? That did
it's the Gameplay
these
videos.
Team,
the ISC
totally
team.
different team. And to see what I'm sure it's a big effort when it's a big cinematic like Jax is, right? Like Whitley's Guide is. But I'm sure it's multiple teams putting that together. But it was really cool to see some other people go, okay, let's do something. Let's work with what we can right? Like we can do stuff without with helmets on and stuff like that without FOIP. And it was wonderful. So as much as I missed Jax this year, I think I'm really happy with what we got in Whitley's Guide's place. So good job, CIG. It was fantastic. Y'all did a fantastic job. I love it.
There are some confusion in chat. People are like, I have no idea what it's talking about right now. CIG did do videos from 2 influencers who exist in the universe.
Wait. There's a lot of new people in the community. Let's go back even further. So for many years, there's been this character called Jax McCleary, and this other guy named Jimmy who works for Jax McCleary on a show called Whitley's Guide. It seems like Jimmy's a producer or a showrunner for Whitley's Guide. He never speaks. I don't know if the character's actually a mute, or if that's just a choice they make with the character that he doesn't speak in general. Yeah. He's a man of few words. Or if he's like Silent Bob, you know? But either way, it's a parody of Top Gear. 100%. I forget the big guy in Top Gear, but what's his name? Because Jax is like...
Yeah, Jeremy Clarkson.
Jeremy Clarkson. So Jax McCleary is like that guy. He's Jeremy Clarkson. And we've had him for a long time, and he's only developed more and more as a character in the last few years. Like the last few years of IAE doing Whitley's Guide, he's really developed as a character. He used to just kind of be look at ships, but now he's a lot more. We put a lot more emotional investment in him. Yeah. So going back that far, that's been going on for a few years. So this year we didn't get Whitley's Guide, and in its place, we've been getting these kind of like short form videos, which last year's Whitley's Guide were all short form, but short forms like minute or so long, maybe 2 minutes long, of these different characters in the verse, like Garmin Humble, who's like Batman basically. He wishes he's a shitty Batman, and Molly, who's like this travel vlogger who runs into a lot of like mishaps at the end of her 3-part series. So we've been getting new characters and new things this year. So there you go. Yeah. I hope that cleared it up for some people.
Yeah, I just wanted to let that know because there wasn't really.
There's a lot more new people in the community. It makes sense to say these things. There's so many new players in the last year. So
yeah, and the CIG didn't actually talk about, like, they didn't promote those videos. They actually unlisted them for the first day or 2 that they were up, and then they made them public like the day after. So like, because you could only access them through their little brochure, and so what was I trying to say? But that's what we're talking about. So make sure you check those out. So Major Star Stuff, I'm going to ask you this question as well. Do you think it was worth it that we didn't get the Jax videos, the Whitley's Guide videos, instead got these kind of influencer videos?
Yeah, so 2 things. First off, I totally missed the Garmin Humble ones. So speaking of CIG not promoting them actively like that much, I totally missed them. Like after we went to tonight's Captain's Table, I'm going to catch up on those.
Yeah.
The I guess even more influencer style or travel vlogger satire ones I watched. I guess speaking as someone who doesn't go back with the older video content that much. I mean, I think the last ones I remember were the ones where he wasn't he in Pyro, and then there was all that action stuff going on, and he got saved with and someone picked him up with a Corsair or something, right? That's the last thing I remember. Yeah. I'm wondering why they went this route instead of like bringing back the old format and then the old protagonists. I think it was enjoyable in a way. I think if you understand that it's obviously satire and poking fun at travel bloggers, I think as such I could enjoy it. Is it something that I needed to be a series of was it 2 days, 3 or 4 days with her?
It was
I don't mean to butt in real quick, but I think, did you just say you didn't know why they didn't keep the old protagonists?
Yeah, I did.
It's because their entire cinematic team was on Squadron 42, and normally the cinematic team is the one working out Whitley's guide like cinematically.
Okay, got it.
So
Yeah.
we didn't mention that earlier. That's
Yeah.
why I apologize about like suggesting maybe it
Yeah.
had something to do with SAG-AFTRA,
'Cause it
because it was actually because cinematic team of
teams.
Squadron was not available to work on cinematics
got
for
it.
Whitley's guide. So
Got it.
that's why we had new stuff. Sorry, I just wanted
Yeah.
to. I heard that and
Yeah.
I was like,
But even with this format, they could still have kept like the old protagonists, right? And brought them in for like a different format of sorts, right? Hey folks, I'm back. We're doing something different this year. Yada yada yada. But yeah, I thought it was different. Not sure if I needed this travel vlogging satire for 3 days in a row. But yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I guess it made sense for them to use this as filler material of sorts.
Yeah. I will say that I'm sad that we didn't get Jack's videos, but one of the things that I've always really wanted from the Star Citizen universe is kind of like lore additional kind of content for the verse, was more in-game videos that'll play on, screens, because that Orison commercial drives me insane. I hate that commercial. It's the only commercial that plays throughout any Stanton place. And I've come visit Orison, the city in the clouds. I've just triggered everyone in chat and everyone who's ever played Star Citizen. You've heard that commercial at least 60 times if you've played the game for any longer than 10 hours. So I need more of that. And while I love Jackson, I love that content, them doing the two kind of like videos they did with Garmin Humble and Molly were, to me, felt like oh, they're trying to explore this. They're pushing beyond just Jackson McCleary, Jeremy Clarkson vibes, or they're going to go for something else, so like expand the universe a little bit more than just what we've had. And I wanted to encourage that. I don't think they're necessarily like wonderful videos. This is me being nice. I'm not trying to be mean, because I know that the gameplay capture team works very hard. But to give you context, my wife doesn't follow anything in Star Citizen. She can only kind of gather stuff at secondhand. And I showed her the videos, and she said, "Did a fan make this?" And I said, "No, it's an official video." She says, "It looks good for a fan-made video, not very good for an official video." Yeah, it's that kind of appeal, and I get it. They're limited. They're limited with what they have and that kind of stuff. But those sorts of things are, in my opinion, good sort of jumping off points, and kind of good to expand the universe beyond just Jax McCleary, because I think we all want to see more stories in the verse, and that's kind of a great way of doing it. So,
and I want to remind people in the chat a little bit too, because some people are having a discussion about it, because somebody was kind of saying, well, if they did the Molly videos, did they work at the same company? Like, which I get what you're saying, but like the thing is the game capture and cinematics are two totally different things. Cinematics is making things to be animated a specific way within the assets you have, whereas game capture is literally capturing what you already have.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot more to explain between those two, but there's a basic difference between them. So, again, notice those videos have voiceovers. You did not see a character's mouth moving because nobody animated it. It was, they were made in a style to adhere to voiceover so that they could make it work.
Yeah,
so
that's why you had the helmets on, or that's why when Molly was speaking, it was in voiceover.
It's like a voiceover, like on a TikTok vlogger or something. Yeah. So
and so that was the other thing that a lot of people confuse as to why they didn't do it. Is because they didn't have the resources apparently, and it's obvious that they were doing the same team that the gameplay capture team, and it's the same company that the game group that does ISC. So that's why it had that same kind of ISC vibe to it. Yeah.
But yeah,
Like-
anyway, glad to help
And I-
anybody understand that needed to be.
And I mean,
Understand
if we think about it like that, then what would have been the alternative, right?
Nothing.
Put
Yeah.
the cinematic team, have it prioritize bringing us the you know, that content back, and then we wouldn't have gotten what we got to see for CitizenCon, which I think was spectacular and totally worth us.
Yeah,
Whining
exactly.
about, oh, but why didn't we? You know, yeah.
Yeah, that Star Engine video, like all of that, and that wasn't even that was a game capture. So, just everything they did for CitizenCon was amazing, and I would gladly like sacrifice Jax once in a while for experiences that good, or polishing or finishing Squadron. But at the end of the day, they did suggest that they were going to have him back next year. So I hope that they meet to that, and if they don't, they let us know ahead of time. And which I would totally understand. But at the end of the day, if I'm gonna miss Jax for a year, I better get like the best I've ever seen of Jax next year. That's that.
Yes.
Look, I'm not trying to tell anybody how to do their job. I'm just saying, do it real good, baby.
But I mean, I think it goes into another thing. It's like
Not that you haven't done good before, but still.
does this if these are two different teams, couldn't we see the gameplay capture team doing videos like this, showing their creativity and doing videos like this, and still get the Jax videos?
Wait, say that again?
So, like, say next year, right? We get Jax videos back, but we know that they're different. The Jax videos are done by the cinematics team, and the gameplay capture team is separate.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. I would love
Have them
that.
do it at the same
But I
time.
don't. But
You know?
even then, like maybe like those characters cameo in Whitley's Guide at some point too. Like who knows? There's a million. They could do stuff all year with those characters. To be honest, they don't have to be limited to IAE. Like what if Garmin and Molly went on a blind date?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
around Coramore, and it went terribly or something.
my joke was, I had a joke of like they did a content creator collab where like he taught Molly how to be a security agent, and Molly taught him some fashion sense.
There's a million things to do with characters and more characters like that as we go forward. Like I'm excited. Anytime CIG makes a new narrative or writes new characters like that, I'm just giddy with it, because I know I know that like if I love Jax as much as I do, like I just think about things like, you know, like Baldur's Gate. Like everybody had a favorite like boyfriend or girlfriend in Baldur's Gate, right? Right. And so I think about like what's it gonna be like when Squadron comes out. Like I really think about that a lot. Like, what's the fan art gonna look like? Not that I don't want to know what all of it looks like. But,
be careful what you wish for, like, Buster.
Like, do you ever think about, like, I know this is kind of a little off topic, but it's kind of on topic since we're talking about these characters. Like, do you ever think about that in the future? Like say like Squadron, for just an easy number, let's say it releases next year, and suddenly like millions of people from all over the world start playing this game that have never played Star Citizen, right? But they're interested in Squadron. They play Squadron. Like, what's life gonna be like when people are like making fan cams of like characters in Squadron? Like, I'm interested to see. Again, like when we mention people, like they're just these little characters they make for videos. Like, my God, like Squadron. I can't wait to see like how much people fall in love with like the romanceable characters or in Squadron, or like that side character that just says funny
there's no
shit.
romanceable characters in Squadron.
Paul, God, I quit. What a boyfriend in a video game about space, okay? What? And sometimes maybe a girlfriend because it's a video game and I like to see what's up, okay?
It's not spoilers. If they clarified it a long time ago, chat.
I don't care if it's a spoiler or not. My bubbles burst.
All right, let's finish up with what like suggestions for next year. If we were to give CIG any suggestions for next year for IAE, what would you like to see? So Major, what would you like to see in terms of next year?
If I may just add one thing before we talk about next year, I think if this content that we saw this past week done by the capture team, if we see that as a test bed or prototype content for further stuff like this in the future. So where they bring us more new, different, diverse characters within the, maybe even from within the lore, right? Because there's such, I mean, and I don't have to tell you, obviously, there's such a rich lore in the game, and I think there's a lot that could get out of that by starting to introduce us to new characters who maybe have a background or go back with a certain person from in-game lore. Like, I mean, Buster, you mentioned Baldur's Gate. I would mention a game that personally I got hyped about because of the rich storytelling for me was, and a lot of you going to laugh now, was Overwatch. So I was never interested in shooter games, and arguably Overwatch is not a shooter game first, but what drew me into the game was the lore behind the individual characters. Mind you, I got interested. I learned Portuguese because my main was Lucio. Yeah. I went to, and this is the first time saying this, not yet. I went to Brazil, and where I would eventually meet my now husband. Initially because I mained Lucio on Overwatch. So not crazy stuff like that does not have to happen to everybody, but I think there's things to explore and things they can bring to us. And again, there's people like yourself who are doing this amazing content about the lore in the game, but why can we not have more official content connecting us with that lore, right? It doesn't have to be like lore videos, but it could be characters referencing the lore in one way or the other.
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, I agree. This seems to be like that stepping stone, which is the reason why when I saw it, I'm like, is this what they're doing? Because they've mentioned in the past they want to start doing like advertisements in game. They want to do news reports in game, and like because there's various different like in lore shows like there's a bounty hunter show that they talk about bounty hunting and that kind of stuff, and there's a show that talks about like the latest and greatest from like stars for like films and stuff like that. And I'm reminded of things like GTA, where they had those like videos where they had these kind of looping videos, but they would be like cartoons or news shows or like other things like that. And I know that they want to put that kind of stuff in the game where you can see it on like your mobile glass or on like TV screens. And I saw the Garmin Humble stuff, and my first thought was, oh, they're doing this? Are they actually doing this? And then I saw the Molly stuff, and I'm like, oh, they may actually be doing this, which is great because it shows you what they can do with such a limited, they limited themselves to just machinima effectively stuff, and they were able to do a pretty good experience, I think, that was set in the universe. Especially my favorite moment, which is still, I think, a lot of moments, was like in the second episode when she goes on that tour. In the background, you can see the Ninetales guy come up and just absolutely deck the mascot of Finley and just beat the hell out of him. It was just like, oh, that's funny. That's just too funny.
Beating whales is never funny.
What about beating people in whale costumes?
There's a whole did you see that in the background of Garmin Humble?
That's what I was.
Of Molly.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
I literally had to pause and be like, wait. Did he? And you think he's getting shot, and then I'm like, oh no, he just got punched. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I really thought he was like getting murdered, and I was like, that's dark. Beating on whales is never funny. There's a whole Star Trek movie about why you should be nice to whales, because aliens in the future will inevitably try to come find the whales, and then they will kill us all because they can't find the whales.
That's true.
Spoiler alert for Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home.
You should watch it anyways. You should watch it right after you watch this. You should go watch Star Trek 4.
And if you don't
second or third best Star Trek movie ever, depending on
it's the first best Star Trek movie. Okay.
I'm sorry. First Contact called and said you're wrong. Wrath of Khan called and said you're wrong.
Yeah.
George and Gracie called and said,
the undiscovered country called and said, I'm vastly underrated.
Yes.
No, I will say that's true. It's the most underrated of all the Star Trek movies.
I rewatched it last week.
I think so best versus favorite is a totally different thing. For me, certainly my favorite is The Voyage Home. Best, probably The Undiscovered Country. I love Wrath of Khan. It's great, but it's number 2. Okay, just saying.
But we digress. We were about to talk about next year's IAE.
Yeah, next year's IAE or future IAEs. What would your be suggestions, Major? Any suggestions for it?
IAE 4, The Voyage Home.
Yeah. I think the most obvious one is we'll probably get the Polaris, right?
Yeah.
So
Hopefully.
I suspect a lot of that. So theorizing here. So probably will RSI then be the ones kicking off the IAE week, and then everybody will grab their Polaris CCUs from their buybacks, or just pledge Warbond pledge ships, and we'll the only Polari in Star Citizen for the whole week.
Oh, the servers are gonna be on fire.
Right. And we're going to see all those videos about will it fit, and everybody trying to fit their vultures and 890 jumps inside the Polaris.
Yeah.
So that's I guess that's a fairly obvious one. And then color wise, it's going to be teal, just because that's my favorite color.
There we go.
And yeah, I mean, it depends a lot on when the things that we already know or that are supposed to find their way from Squadron 42 of sorts, from the Squadron 42 development into the PU in the coming months. So I feel like the game will feel very different in a year from now than it does today, and I would go so far as to say more so than if we look a year back. I mean, we got a lot of new things this year or in these past 12 months, but I think these next 12 months are going to change the game more than we are aware of right now. So, and that's obviously also going to have an impact on how we will perceive next year's IAE and the things. But yeah, Buster, do you have anything?
I'm gonna step out for 2 seconds. But yeah, Buster, your thoughts.
Yeah.
What would you be what would you suggest for changes for next IAE?
Cocaine, hookers. No, I'm just kidding. Next year's IAE, I actually really agree with you on the teal. I really like teal. I think we're due for a teal look. We've had pink, we've had gold, we've had I think blue, now purple, and maybe some other. But teal would be a nice color. Next year's IAE, I would like to see again more interactivity, as I talked about before. At least one thing that's a little bit interactive in game, in IAE, and then one of these days I'd really like to see, especially I think this kind of for me goes back to what's the thing called where we vote for the ship showdown. I'm really hoping that they start to consider, and I know the community, like multiple people in the community have kind of said it, is to not if like a, if these 4 ships got best in show, right, the year previous, I would like to see them stop including previous year's ship winner, like previous, like top 4 being in the next ship showdown, because ship showdown is like the beginning of IAE. Yeah. Right, for the community, because it's like ship showdown happens months and months ago, and it determines the last, like obviously the best in show for IAE, and obviously content. Like, they have in the past they've had Jack's reference what the best in show are and things like that. He's made videos about it, or they made videos of him about it, and like things like that. So it influences a great deal of a great amount of what some things going forward into IAE. And I'd really like to see previous best in show, like from the year before, becoming disqualified for the next year.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a soft one where people can still submit it, but at the same time, like they're not gonna, like they could even say, "Hey, we're not gonna put in these 4 ships. You can still submit material about these 4 ships, but we're not gonna put them in." Mm-hmm. I'd like to see things like that happen, because and to be fair, and this goes with best in show stuff or ship showdown. I'd really like to see more fighters make it into the top 4.
At least smaller ships,
Yeah, smaller ships, not such massive ships every time. I mean, in the year of our Argo, that was a wonderful year. That was literally the best year of ship showdown. And IAE.
Were you there? I don't think it was It was like 3 years ago, wasn't it? No, yeah. Major, have you heard tales of the Argo year of IAE or the Argo?
I have not.
Showdown?
I have not.
So,
Enlighten me.
I will tell the story, especially if you were brand new.
All you new people.
So we'll step back to 2000. In 2000,
in the year 2000. In the year 2000. Sorry, I love Conan O'Brien.
Oh gosh, who was it?
Conan O'Brien.
There was another content creator. Oh gosh, what am I thinking?
Jeez.
You know what I'm talking about? It wasn't me. It wasn't anybody else. It was
I can't remember who kicked it off.
But yeah,
initially that year. But it was. He said the year 2000. It was the year like
2020.
2020.
2020. Yeah, I said 2000. Year 2020.
Red Lear. It was Red Lear.
It was Red Lear. Thank you.
Red Lear. That's such a Red Lear thing to do. Yeah.
So Red Lear.
He used Gary. He did Gary memes.
Yes. So
Gary's
in 2020, Red Lear tried to get the Argo MPUV to be best in show, and he barely missed it. He barely missed it in 2020. So in 2021, myself and several other content creators, when I was like, you know what? You know, it'd be funny because
let's band together and make this.
Let's band together and let's have the MPUV win.
We're all still living inside during a pandemic. We need something to do.
So we all backed Red Lear and we promoted the hell out of it, and it was so big that the
memes were insane.
Were insanity. It was
the community. It wasn't just the content creators pushing it. Like the community started to get into it.
Yeah,
and then you had like half the community that was like, "This is the greatest thing ever of all time, and we will never stop." Yeah. And then the other half of the community is going, I'm so sick of this meme vote." And they were just complete. They were so mad.
It was so like glorious in terms of it.
It was beautiful. It was a beautiful time.
We were all engaged. Everyone was, no matter what, everyone was making memes and making videos, making posts, and like everyone was getting involved in it.
Like Jesus returned to the earth and it was the Argo.
Yes, our short orange king rose from the dead. You know. So it was, but
to bring us all to rapture, which was the Argo winning best in show.
It was this community-wide thing where like it felt like everyone in the community had a feel about it. Like everyone was talking about it. Everyone was engaged with it.
You were either for it, against it, or you didn't care. Even though you
wanted to watch watch it going because it was so entertaining.
I made memes. I made I made a bunch of memes of like the Argo like on TikTok. Yeah. I mean, everybody made the best memes that year.
The community manager Jake was making memes supporting Argo and PUV.
Wasn't that like right before he started working for them?
No, he was working for them at that time. It was right after.
Okay. Yeah, he had just started working for them.
He had just started working for them, and they just started working for them, and they then.
Sorry, pardon me. They.
Yeah, and then it was it Disco or was it? I think it was Disco and Xylo. Had a bet that they were going to have the Carrick win, and they both lost pretty hard on that.
Well, I think they do. I think at CIG, I could be wrong. Please, if you work for CIG, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they do like a bracket, like like when you go to like you do the football betting, with the little like you try to guess the score. Like, and I think they do something similar with Sweet 16 brackets in in basketball. But I think that's what they do is they fill out brackets of what they think, how they think it's going to play out, right?
Yeah.
The CIG.
And they had their own brackets.
And Jared was like bitching that his bracket was going to get fucked up by the Argo.
Yeah.
Because I remember I made a whole video where I sang like "Don't break my heart, say you love the Argo," and then I like tagged Jared in because like he was saying something about it on Twitter like the day before the final vote, and I was like, "How could you do this to me? Like this is our thing, Jared. You're a meme king. Come on, man." And he's like, "Look, I just don't want my bracket to get messed up." I was like, "You fucking pussy, deal with it."
It was glorious because it was even the community was like the devs
beautiful.
were getting involved in it.
There was never a better time in this game.
And when it won, it solved world hunger and world peace happened.
Everybody shut the fuck up and ate some chocolate and vibed. Okay, like everybody lived and loved and laughed.
It was one of those very
prayed or something.
It was one of those few times in the Star Citizen community where there was no negative. There was negativity, but
don't say that. That never happens. But
the entire subreddit was filled with people either
joy.
Talking about it
there was
or celebrating in it. People's social media was filled with it. Like it was a full blown sort of a moment of the entire community came together for one thing.
And then, so this all went down. It won Best in Show. You either loved it or you hated it. Deal with it, baby. And then the next year, we were kind of like, hey, what are we gonna do this year? And we were gonna do Grey Cat.
The PTV.
We were gonna do the Grey Cat, and the next year when we started to meme the Grey Cat, like CIG immediately shut down Grey Cat.
Yeah, they killed it right away. They were
like, no. And they were saying that their official excuse was that they wouldn't be able to release a paint for the PTV because that it's too old of an asset to they don't have the ability to repaint basically at this time.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's something they would have to retouch. They'd have to take time to retouch to get it to modernize it in Star Citizen speak. And so, but then they did release that that new PTV later that year.
Steve.
So they did. I feel like almost maybe they were already working on that, and they were like, "Okay, we got to make them happy." But yeah, they shut it down immediately this year. I tried to do Dragonfly, and nobody joined me.
No one did it.
The
cutter almost did it. The cutter was a lot of people were pushing the cutter, but the cutter was like
the cutter's not a meme.
It's actually good ship.
Yeah, it's a good ship. Like, you can't meme a good ship. You can only meme funny thing, like ships that have no business being in Best in Show, which they do have business being Best in Show because they're beautiful and we love them. Okay. Anyway, that's the saga.
Which all goes to show controversial stuff sells and gets attention and gets even the community together in a way, even if in healthy controversy.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like friends,
right? But and that goes kind of back to what you said earlier, Buster. The Best in Show winners of the past year should kind of be disqualified, maybe for the following year,
and
right?
That's not an original thought by any means. There's plenty of people that say that.
In order to, because I mean, we've seen it here in chat. Like we had people who loved this year's the video content. We had people with whom it didn't resonate that much. Some people in between, and with the ships it's the same, right? We have people who love their 890 jumps. We've got people like myself who hate anything associated with luxury bullshit, so not Origin fans. Although I used to love my 400i. And people who like more industrial ships, more so and I think some of those ships who maybe which maybe have a less of a following among the community also deserve the chance, so that those people, even if they're in a minority, also get their moment where their ships get to shine and they can grab some Best in Show paints for them, right? Because if it's only ever the same types of ship that appeal to a larger part of the community, I think then that kind of leaves behind part of the community that maybe have a different taste.
Yeah, it helps highlight more aspects of the community that we don't see often. I'm sure there's a huge community of fans who like the Eclipse or like the there's people have their tastes, and when you have the same ships,
and even if it's not a huge following, always keep in mind the minorities among your people, right? So I think.
Buster, you were going to say something?
No.
Okay. I will say pretty much echo what we've all said. Sorry, we took everyone down the primrose path of the past, of the Gloria days of the Argo Cargo winning.
Days.
But I would say, if I was to give CIG suggestions for changing it next year, I would say move as much as you can into game. anything that's on the website, try to move anything you can on the website into the game. Like, I love the brochure idea, but I think it would be a lot cooler if you had that brochure in game as like an
but then they gotta
prop.
animate you.
Yeah,
Unfolding stuff.
but it's like, you know, like you could put it on the Mobiglass, you know, instead of it being
Yeah, it's
folding
true.
thing.
You like scan, like
you come scan it now,
here to like
and then you
scan
kind of pull it up and
like a QR code almost. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you could just
Not
kind of
that you would
watch
scan
videos
one,
and
but
stuff like that.
Upload to your Mobiglass.
Yeah.
Open. But even that's like new content for the Mobiglass.
Oh yeah,
you know?
it would dedefinitely be new. And
there I am,
not,
like, you know, I'm apparently supposed to build a ship for the vehicle team now. So
yes,
you know, I told them to get my CIG badge the other day.
Did they agree?
Twitter, to please on Twitter, do not tag. I mean, look, tag people as you want, but it's funny whenever people like tag people like yourself, me, into like CIG, please tag chat to tweets, and I'm like, give me my badge now. I'll follow immediately for this poor man. Anyway.
But yeah, no. What I was gonna say. But like more stuff in game for activity.
Yeah.
More interactivity stuff. Make it a thing that we all want to celebrate. You know, like I want to recapture that.
I want there to be
moment.
a party in the game.
Yeah. Like
that would be so cool just to have like, okay, like in like for a whole day in each server, there's like an after party after it's ended at like specific bar, and there's like little things at the bar.
At like Wally's or whatever, or is it called? You know, like the one in Microtech. You know, go to that one. Everyone, you get specific drinks and stuff like that.
Well, let players organize it, but put some stuff, like just make it a specific day. That way people can just kind of go to it. Like, God, have you had... Look, Venom, have you tried to organize this community in real life? That's the hard part.
That's
in
the
game?
difficult part.
Whoa, forget about it. No, I'm just kidding. I was just messing
but yeah, and like just whatever, reflecting the whole, you know, make me care about Best in Show. Please make me care more about Best in Show. Make the whole community like really engage, and the way to do that is to kind of eliminate the past winners and let new winners get a chance. And I'm not saying like the 600i shouldn't win at all. I'm saying like let the 600i win every other year instead of every year. You know, so.
What, does the 600i win every year?
Oh yeah, it's like the third time it's won.
God, see?
Yeah.
Lame.
It won this year. It won. I want to say it won last year, and then it won like the first one because it was like the 600i, the Caterpillar.
Stop voting for 600i's. Just refuse.
Everyone likes it.
I would like to. And then just to reiterate on what I said earlier about let's not forget about new players, right? Because we this year with CitizenCon and with the we saw a lot of attention again of more so from the mainstream coming in, at least in the aftermath of the CitizenCon trailer, and with Squadron 42 coming within the next let's say 2 years at some point. There will be more attention also to the PU and to Star Citizen, and so there will be an influx of new players, not only for IAE, not only for Invictus. And yes, we've got a tutorial now, but I feel like a huge part, or maybe that's only me, a huge part for me about Star Citizen, playing Star Citizen, is the aspect of the playing with other people, right? And playing with people, and I'm super grateful for the people I've met through the game, some of them who I'm happy to call my friends. And I think to give people who join for IAE for the first time, for the free flight, a little bit of a taste of that, an idea of what start playing the game is all about. It's not only about flying the spaceships and landing on a moon and exploring and doing all that stuff, but it's also about people coming together for better or worse. And so I think like some sort of more community engagement that happens in the game would be nice. Whether it's, I mean, we saw the golden ticket stuff for the F8C, right? The F8A, I always get it wrong. We could see yeah, thank you, FHC. Why can't we have developers, community people being in game and having in-game meetups, right? With Jared, for example, like an in-game bar meetup, preferably an
Have you
in-game
played a
astropub.
video game with Jared?
I have.
Oh my god! You should see his island in that game on Nintendo. What's it called? Animal Crossing. Oh my god!
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing.
What a dork!
But I guess what you're saying. Yeah.
So a way for people who come into the game for IAE for the first time and who do not have other people to play with. I mean, I know people. I've acquaintances in game who have, in years of playing the game, not been able to find people to play with consistently on a regular basis. So find a way for IAE to give that experience of coming together and then finding people, give them a taste of that for IAE somehow.
Yeah, I agree. I think bringing the community together is a good. Like, these events should bring the community together, and I think that's the. If I was to kind of highlight my thoughts, it would say, take everything you can and put it into game. Anything that's in the website, try to put it in the game, try to keep things fresh next year, and bring people together. That's what these events should be about. You know, kind of like a nice end of the year send off where we all kind of celebrate ships. So, with that, I think we're gonna pause, use the restroom, get other things, and then we'll come back and take questions. But thank you so far to Buster and Major Star Stuff. Make sure you check them out on their social medias and their YouTube and stuff like that. Buster at youtube.com or at twitch.tv/Buster
the Destroyer.
Yes.
And then YouTube Buster Destroyer. So
Buster
there you
Destroyer.
go. There's a difference.
And then Major, you're at Major Star Stuff, all one word. On
Just
YouTube
Major Star Stuff everywhere, yeah.
Oh,
And Twitch also with an underscore, but never mind, yeah. YouTube
awesome.
is where I am mostly these days.
Awesome. Thank you again for watching. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. No chat. We're not coming back. You're all alone. We've left to go get cigarettes and milk. We're back with the question and answer session with Buster and Major Star Stuff. Let me double check to make sure I have
Quick change of
right.
costume.
Yes. Yeah. I like it. They're good.
Look at you. You're a regular Jean-Luc.
Commander Jean-Luc, if I hadn't been stepped in the heart or something.
Yeah, when he was, well, you're definitely younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hardly.
The captain card. Okay.
I think I'm about the age that
He started?
Patrick Stewart was when he started. Yeah.
He was like, God, it's so weird to say that he's like in his 40s.
Yeah.
But and now he's like, what? He's like 80. Like crap. Anyway, sorry.
We're getting off topic, but that's fine. It's
Star Trek. It's always on topic.
So the first question comes from Caniac, who asks, with one of the stretch goals being a battle cruiser, but CIG having since said that the Javelin will be the largest player-owned ship, what are your opinions on how CIG will address this stretch goal? They never said they would sell it. They just said it would be in game.
Yeah.
Maybe,
if they release one ship in this game that I can't buy, and if I could, it would be like $1 million goddamn dollars. I'm cool.
Yeah.
I like the idea of something not being for the player.
I also don't mind it being a player controllable thing. Because
or you become a crew member on it or something. Yeah. Like it has maybe set goals that it's supposed to do according to like canon or lore.
Major, what do you think?
or make it part of like some sort of faction gameplay, right? It's there. It's per standard. It's not player controlled, but then depending on if your org or a certain faction has majority control over that area, that sector, you take over that
Right.
ship or that base for a while, but then other people can like attack you and get it back. But it's maybe
Imagine
it's
the
not mobile.
espionage
Yep.
Yeah.
that could really play into that. There could be some serious espionage and drama.
Yeah. So yeah, it just because it's not player purchasable or ownerable doesn't mean you can't get it. Like I for one would love to see people be like, listen, we're gonna heist a battle cruiser from the UEE. I want to see that video that someone does and see how that goes terribly wrong or terribly right. That's great. That's a fun little like an event. So.
And remember, this is Star Citizen. Even if there's something that's in this game that the player's not technically supposed to like control, there will be a way.
There'll be a way.
There will be there, and until it's patched out.
Yeah. Midnight Black SC asks, I went to the show floor once this IAE. Any ideas what they could do to make the event more interesting? We talked a little bit
we
about
kind of covered that in the last thing. But I think we came to consensus a little bit more eventy, interactive kind of things going on during IAE. I think
give me a reason to log in.
That a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a reason to log in rather than go to the website. That'd be nice. You know. Midnight Black SC asks, why aren't they making more skins? It's mind-boggling to me that they're getting this year. All we're getting this year is the skins for BIS and new ships. Also, they haven't added any skins that were bought in game since they first added them. It's true. There was just no skins this year for ships. No new shit skins.
Shit skins.
Shit skins. Ship skins. I honestly think the reason why is because they're probably focusing on Squadron. I wouldn't be surprised if that team that's normally does ship skins are doing different skins or different paint jobs.
Do we normally get skins during than the Best in Show ones?
Oh yeah. We usually get like a handful of new ones every year, and this is the first year.
Oh, okay. But we've gotten so many throughout this year, though.
We got some, I think, during Invictus for sure. So
I feel like we've gotten. Maybe some of them are new to me, and they're
there's
from
some more
like 2
event
years
stuff
ago.
too. We've got some more other.
I mean,
event skins
you get green. It seems like every year for like Vara, for example, they're adding new. They're adding like the green skin to a new ship.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but it feels like every year they're sort of adding another ship in that green skin category, and then like Coramore, they've done a great job last year. I mean, this year alone, they did like those pink ones. Maybe they gave that the year before with the Nomad. The year the Nomad was released, I think. But yeah, I feel like we get enough throughout events that it's okay. Like I feel okay about them focusing, like letting the Best in Show paints be special, and that's okay with me. But I can't blame you for being a little like, where are they? If you're expecting them,
but
you know.
At the same time, as far as I'm concerned, and I tend to agree here with what Expat Brett just said in chat. I think this year's CitizenCon kept everybody busy, and I mean that's not to excuse not progress on other fronts, but is new paints a priority when and how would have impacted, even if mildly so, impacted the CitizenCon experience? So as far as I'm concerned, I can do with a few less skins. And a few less shiny and sparkly in exchange for that.
I'm also always a fan of CIG maybe actually doing customizable skins for us so we can do it in game rather than having to buy ships from them or buy stuff from them, the hex code stuff. So
yep.
Oh, can I
hex code stuff?
Can I answer one quick question that just came up in chat?
Sure.
I'm glad that somebody asked this. Sorry, this is a personal thing, but this is a oil painting that my great grandmother did of if you know who he is, extra points, but Bob Wills.
But who?
Bob Wills. Bob Wills.
Okay.
Paul? Bob who? Come on.
All I heard was Bob. I didn't hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Bob Wills is he was the leader of the band called Bob Wills and his Texas Playboys, and him and that band like originated the sound that or the genre of music called Western swing. So that's Bob Wills. My great grandmother painted that.
Nice.
I'm getting prints of it made, so I brought it to town. Anyway, sorry, I just saw that. I wanted to ask them.
There we go. Buster, I'll start with you with this question, and then I'll move on to you, Major. Do you think 2024 is shaping up to be the best year for Star Citizen ever?
It seems like it's a, Morphologist asked a similar question, but his was, do you think that this next year is going to be slower?
Yeah.
Which is funny. I won't comment any further on that part. But I'll tell Paul after.
Yeah.
But no, seriously though, yeah, I do. I think 2024 is going to be a fantastic year. Look, I know everybody says don't put your eggs in one basket, things like that, right? Like don't hype in a way that you let yourself down. And I'm a big proponent of that. I'm a big I don't put expectations into Star Citizen so I can always be happy. But I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna call it. I'm putting that positive energy into Star Citizen for 2024. I don't work at CIG. I'm spiritually I'm sending all of
Good
my
vibes.
good vibes
The positive
and
vibes.
my positive, my unmistakable Buster energy to the folk at CIG, because I think I feel good. I feel really good this going into the next year. So personally, yeah, in a year from now, ask me if I regret this statement today. But yeah, I'm hype. I'm not
Major.
hype, but I'm
yeah. Major, your thoughts? Do you think this year is going to be the best year ever?
Yeah. Good question. I'm convinced we're going to see a lot of those things that they promised. May call me naive, but I think we're going to see a lot of those things that they promised, or they told us they were going to find their way into the PU from Squadron 42 development. We're going to see that getting added into the game these coming 6 to 9 months or so. So that's going to be exciting for sure, I think, for everybody who plays Star Citizen and on the PU. And then towards the end of next year, I expect from a brand and marketing perspective, I think they're going to really bring up their marketing game for Squadron 42, right? If we expect a release, and I'd expect it to come in February, March 25 at the latest. I don't expect them to. I know someone suggested that they'd keep it for CitizenCon 2025. I don't believe that, because of it's not going to be considered for Game of the Year if it comes too early in 2025. I don't think that they're going to put that into their calculation. So anyway, end of next year they're going to really start the marketing campaign around Squadron 42 really. And with that, even more people are going to find their way into Star Citizen. And I just want to, maybe more of a personal anecdote, then I'd be interested to hear what Chet or what the two of you think about that. But if I think back 2 years from now, 2 years back in the past, 3 years ago, I was aware that Star Citizen existed. Back then I was not able to play Star Citizen because I only upgraded my gaming PC to something that was able to run Star Citizen last year. So I just realized the other week I saw was it on Reddit or Instagram? I don't know. I know the Game of the Year awards. Their Instagram, they shared a Star Citizen clip or a Squadron 42 clip or something, and someone commented on Instagram, "Oh, is that a game that I didn't know it existed?" Right? And I think us in this bubble, in this Star Citizen bubble, we sometimes forget that we are in terms of the whole gaming community, we are such a minority. Star Citizen being such and I can only speak for myself, being such an integral part of our gaming lives, we are a minority when it comes to that. So as soon as this goes more mainstream, and we've seen a little bit of that, we've gotten a taste of that with the various mainstream content creators covering Squadron 42, right, because it was on Vogue, right? The moment Star Citizen, not only Squadron 42, but also Star Citizen goes mainstream, there'll be such an influx of new players. And I can see that starting to happen end of next year when they really push for the marketing for the Squadron 42 release.
Yeah.
And that's kind of stuff that gets me excited about more people, a more diverse, maybe even more mainstream target audience finding their way into the game, and then with that, more controversy, more different kind of opinions and tastes, and then right, yeah.
No, it's. I think it's really interesting you brought the marketing for Squadron up, because my answer was like so much about like, yes, I feel like it's going to be a good year, and you got into like very good specifics, and yeah, I totally agree with you. I didn't even think about that, like, but you know what I mean, like that. You're right. You're 100% right, because that is going to be, but I think when the game also releases, to add to your point about like that bringing in so many new people, that's also like when the game releases and people play it, then it's going to be like, boom, it's going to hit hard. Like it's going to go, before, like during marketing, and then it's going to be like, boom, 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 and we're going to be overwhelmed. You're right. We are totally a minority.
I'd expect it to be like in like several waves, right? I totally agree. Once the game Squadron 42 gets released and people play the game, and then afterwards they progress into Squadron 42, that's probably going to be the major.
Depending on how long it takes to finish that game, right?
Yeah. But at the same time, I think. Yeah. But at the same time, I think the Squadron 42 campaign is going to also raise awareness for, there is an MMO that's called Star Citizen. I had no idea it existed.
Set in the same universe. It has the same. It has similar characters, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, because I guarantee you, they're marketing like when like you play, you download Squadron, blah blah blah. It's gonna first of all, it's gonna have the same launcher, I would imagine.
Yeah, I imagine.
And two. Yeah, and so right there, they're gonna see what's Star Citizen. Wait, and then also there's probably gonna be things that link it to the website, like all kinds of different ways. But yeah, it's gonna be like, say it's a 100-hour play, right? So that would normally the average person that probably take them a couple weeks, but like people that are really playing the crap out of it. So it's gonna like you said, waves. It's gonna be like within a week, boom, and then like 2 weeks later, boom, and then there's the guys like that took 3 weeks to finish. It's gonna be wild.
Yeah,
I
good.
Oh, sorry, Paul.
No, go ahead.
No, just to add to that, I mean, we have no way, since they took Squadron 42 from the store, unless you pay which one is it included still? I don't know.
It's like $1,000. You have to get the $1,000.
Anyway, I was lucky enough to still get it and even edit. I've got a standalone Squadron 42 pack. But I think once they put it up for sale on a, I guess, dedicated squadron42.com, what have you, website, I'd expect them to sell it also in a bundle with and pledge now, pre-buy now, and get instant access to the public universe, right? So maybe even before Squadron 42 releases, people are going to find their way into the public universe. That would be my
people who the marketing got to ahead of time, right?
There definitely needs to be. I think CIG would be a fool not to have a free flight around the same time as the release of Squadron, because like maybe a week before the release of Squadron, because that would get the marketing coming up, and then every kind of marketing convention. Oh, and you can play the MMO that it's in the same universe right now for free as long as you have an account. That gets people to come in and like get that little taste and stuff like that. But I agree. I think, and I do think that that's a good point to bring up, because there's some people being like, well, let's let the game's in shambles right now. Let's wait. But the answer is like, there's going to be a lot of changes in the game going forward, and there'll be a lot of stuff that's broken and a lot of stuff that's fixed. But I always like to give people context, because the game may seem like it's in shambles, but for people who've been around long enough, they'll remember how bad previous IAEs are and free flights are,
and not even that, just previous patches.
Yeah, but it's always gotten better. So it's always stepped forward, even if it feels like it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It always feels like it's slowly eking better. And sometimes you have some disastrous patches like 3.18, but as much as that was a disaster, it also improved the game overall.
We haven't had one that bad since.
You brought up a a good point there, Paul. Sorry, I keep interrupting that, but just as an explainer for that, like I work in a brand strategy and marketing, so I always always look at the brand, the product that is.
As a fellow marketer, I am with you on that. Like, so I understand. I understand that mindset.
Like,
you know,
okay, sometimes we've struggled to understand what's going on with marketing. Sometimes but I think one important aspect is, and I expect the marketing campaign around Squadron 42 to kick off like at least half a year ahead of the launch, right? So, and then also probably pre-order stuff going on. But around that time, and I think that's the huge challenge here. They have a feature complete Squadron 42, and they're doing the polishing right now. But we still have Star Citizen that is an alpha.
Yeah.
So with an influx of new players or new people getting aware of Star Citizen and Squadron 42, there is the risk of people pre-ordering Squadron 42, then getting instant access to the PU, finding a game that still has certain hiccups here and there, and then getting scared off and potentially even like canceling their pre-order. Like, maybe I'm overthinking it. Like,
you're right.
But I think
you're right.
Star Citizen, the PU will have to be in a little bit of a better place, or in a more stable place towards the end of next year, in order not to scare off people who are not used to the usual hiccups that we all have gotten used to already. So
I agree.
And with that, I'll shut up about
that. No, that's a great point. Like, that's another problem about that whole thing. Is that they definitely need to be careful with it. But in terms of like the original question, will 2024 be the good year for Star Citizen? I think you hit the nail on the head, Major, when you said like every year has been different, but it feels like 2024 is going to be so much more different than when we're used to. And different means like everything from the mobiGlas to like the way we look at the game, to the way we play the game, the way we log into the game. All of those things are going to change. And some people will not like it. Some people will be like ecstatic about it. But I do think that overall that change is going to be a good thing for the final product that is Star Citizen that we all want to play. But I also like to quote Buster on this, is that these are the bad old days. These are the bad old days that we're going to remember fondly, because we have
the good old days, but still, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think when you originally said it was like these are the bad old days, in the sense that like we'll look back and remember about all the crazy stuff that happened, because eventually in the future it'll be like we won't have that chance. We won't have the chance to slam a caterpillar into the side of another ship and have try to board it or something like that, or to run around with 4,000 hot dogs in our cargo bay and try to deliver them to various people.
There's things I could do like 5 years ago that I miss now.
Yeah.
You know, like when I used to buggy bowl with my friends, and we used to like just send like literally like little PTVs just flying in the air in ways that they shouldn't.
Yeah.
And one's on fire, one's spinning, and the other one's like already nose diving back into the ground. Like, and none of them have any consistency. Like, I miss things like that. You will miss the alpha. Y'all will miss this alpha, especially the longer you've been around.
Oh yeah. All right. Next question. I'm gonna step away for a few moments in a little bit. So this is a question. I'll start with you there, Major, on this one. For subsequent ship sales, could they include consoles, like what we, what are they called in game right now? Sim pods, like where like you can climb into a pod and simulate stuff. For Arena Commander at each of the ships, letting you at least test fly the ships and in their retrospective cargo loops. Also, is there an industrial focused holiday and lore similar to Labor Day in the U.S.? It's a good question. I'll have to come back on that. Also, I'll start with you on that one, Major. Do you think that would be a good idea of having like pods where you could test fly the ship that's on the floor?
So
be right back.
Basically, is it? I'm not sure if I get the idea right. But basically, the way we can get to experience ships for IAE, or like in Arena Commander, is it, Buster? Can you help me out there? Well,
Yeah,
Paul
I
has
think
done.
he's saying like, would it be a good idea to like have like in-game test pods that basically log you into Arena
Yeah.
Commander to test the ships right away.
Is how feasible is that? Like seeing that a lot of the ships we
Yeah,
do not have in Arena Commander, but we get the loaner ships for that. Isn't it like a
I
different environment altogether? That's not
I don't know
easy
if
to.
the rentals. I don't think the rentals go through on Arena Commander. Can
Yeah.
anybody confirm that in chat? Because for me, it's a little. I mean, it would seem a little silly to have a login for Arena Commander in game because that just seems like an extra step to play Arena Commander. But hey, Paul.
Yes.
Do you know if Arena Commander, like if rentals like from IAE also work in Arena Commander? Because I don't think they do.
should. They should.
I don't play. I played Arena Commander last night, and I don't think I had access to them.
You did?
Yeah, let me look. You know, I still have those rentals active while we're sitting here. I'll just load it up. But
okay.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that's what he's asking, Major. Is
like being able to play the ship. Like if you say you go to like the Hercules, and you like there's like a little pod that you can climb into the pod and then play it in Arena Commander as you're playing it, like on the floor rather than having to go out and log into the Arena Commander.
I mean, guess it would be nice to try out first what you're going to buy, but is it?
But it's just no consequences, like, and it's more convenient, you know. And honestly, Arena Commander isn't always the best representation of everything that a ship can do in game. I don't know. I would say no, me personally.
I mean, it is arguably for the combat ships, I guess, yes, but for a lot of the ships that have different gameplay aspects.
Yeah, you need to build something bespoke for like cargo hauling or mining or something like that, which also kind of cool. But
I think it kind of defeats the purpose of logging into Star Citizen to play Star Citizen if it's just routing you back to Arena Commander or something else like it, right? I think like definitely like your rental should, in my opinion, go across here. Let's look. Let's see. Vehicle selection. What did I have rented? I don't think I see anything I've rented. No, wait. No. Yeah, I don't. Maybe. No, there's a rental. Okay, there's something I rented. The Mariah Fury.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I
but it
swear
should be
I rented
only
more than
the
this.
single seaters anyway, right? That
right
get shown in Arena Commander.
I can't. Yeah, I can't pull up everything. Oh, let me go to Free Flight because that'll let me pull up anything so I can see the full list. But yeah, it just seems silly to me because part of Free Fly is like you're also encouraging people to try this game out, and if like they just get into the arcade side of it, like while they're in game, then I don't know. That just seems a little silly to me. That's all. Like you want to encourage them to actually get out and explore the game. But Major, I get it too.
Did you have an idea?
I'd say let's get the game finished first, and then add an additional arcade layer universe. Yeah, where you can simulate said finished game.
All right, this is specifically for you, Gin and Tonic. Major Star Stuff from Gin and Tonic. It says Major Star Stuff, blue teal or green teal.
Oh yeah, I saw that earlier. I answered that with the hex code, which is can I bring it up again? It is 3C7F72. That's my answer. I'm not sure which one's which.
CF72, yes.
It's a great question. I keep it's my ongoing identity crisis. Do I like more bluish green or greenish blue? I never know. It's just probably right in the middle. Also depends on my mood any given day. If it's more towards the green or more towards the blue.
So it's 3C, 7C, or 3C, I guess F7.
The Star Trek uniform teal is kind of gives you
a little dark. Idea. Yeah.
What's the code again?
Also a little dark.
3C.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm looking.
It is 3C7F72.
Okay, confirming that yes, your rentals work across into.
That's at least the one I've been using for my Major Starstuff brand
Yeah,
colors.
it looks. I like it. Yeah. It is very kind of like a muted teal green. Yeah, it's kind of a greenish. Yeah, it's more green. Yeah, it's like the Star Trek science and medical officer stuff. So yeah,
It is.
Good
Thanks
color.
a lot,
It's a
Linus.
good
I
deal.
appreciate you appreciating the nerdiness of that answer.
One of my greatest talent in college was because I studied theater and I specialize in scenic painting. My greatest talent in life is I can match any paint to color just looking at it. I don't need a formula. And so I very much appreciate what is it more blue? Is it more green?
yeah.
Is there like a streak of red in it somewhere, for richness?
All right, so I'm gonna start with you. This one, Major Star Stuff. What do you think about the Best in Show this year? Best in Show paints this year. Best in Show paints.
So I kind of locked myself out of getting them in the first place. My friends told me, be smart, wait with your applying your CCUs for the last day because you want to have the Best in Show ships in your hangar for Best in. I will not get a single Best in Show skin this year. I think they're really cool. Personally, I'm not much of a. I mean, I put a lot of ships in my buybacks. You don't want to see my buybacks after only 1.5 years with the game, but I keep like melting, bringing back and forth. But I'm not much of a collector of unique items unless they really resonate with me. But oddly, with the ship paints, there's a lot of ships where I actually like the stock ones. So, for example, Freelancer being one of them. Like I like the base Freelancer stock paint, just that chrome metallic stuff. And there's other ships where I do not care too much about the special paints. So, like I think they're really cool, and I look forward to my friends showing them off and rocking them on their ships. Personally, yeah, I'm not much of a special paint collector. So, but I think they're really cool. Like the special.
The purple, I think kind of like translucent a little bit, or like the
right, yeah.
They have that like sheen to them. Buster, what do you like?
Exactly,
I think you said that earlier.
I'm trying to find them. I'm looking on the website By the way, the website's fakakta right now.
It's not going to be on the website until tomorrow, but they did show off a few of them. Like
where are they?
I'll give you. I'll upload it to our chat real quick. Hold on.
Is it on Twitter?
I think they posted on Twitter as well, but these are the preview they had of it.
Okay,
kind of look at them.
It's like captain's table.
Yeah, in the captain's table. They had it's kind of like a teal.
Oh yeah.
Like a cyan.
It makes me think of those cups from the 90s.
Yes. It has that kind of like the color change aspect to them. They're very
the what's that called? That's a specific type of finish.
Pearlescent.
Holographic.
Holographic, yeah.
Yeah, maybe not holographic, but like that whole, you look at it from one angle, it's purple. When you look at it from another angle, it's like burgundy,
Yeah.
Like car paint. Yeah, it's like a finish thing. But it looks cool. They look kind of flat in this picture, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to see them in game. But I really like seriously, they make me think of those cups in the 90s.
Yeah.
Also, some other like candy or something. Oh my God, you know what it is? Okay, the SRV or whatever it is on the bottom.
Yeah, the vulture.
The vulture. You remember those Pop-Tarts that were like purple with the teal icing?
Yes.
Oh my God, it looks like
it looks like that. Yes. It's Pop-Tart. It's a Pop-Tart.
It's a Pop-Tart. What flavor of Pop-Tart is that? I'm looking it up right now. Thank God for the internet. Pop-Tart, purple, teal. Okay, what is that one? The wild berry.
Yeah.
Frosted wild berry.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it looks just like it's frosted wild berry.
So for those of you who don't know Pop-Tarts, I'm sorry. It's the best way of describing it.
Probably good. Here, I'll link it in chat too. I'll link the specific one.
So it's like a hard tack bread with a filling, like some sort of filling, and then it has like a little kind of cover icing on it. And the idea is you put it in like a toaster and you toast it for a few minutes and it heats the whole thing up and you eat it. So it's kind of like a mass produced pastry is what it is effectively. So for those who don't know what that is, it's a prepackaged pastry. Yeah, calling it a cake is generous.
Okay, imagine hand pie. Like imagine like a little pie.
Yeah,
like a tiny little pie.
Yeah,
but like instead of having like fruit in it, it basically has like jam in it.
Yeah,
and it's like pinched at the sides so that it stay. Yeah, it's just like a little. It's just a little pastry with filling.
Yeah, I think they're
frosting.
I remember them. There was versions of called toaster strudels, but I don't know if
that you heat it up in the toaster.
Yeah.
And then you iced yourself. Like it came with a packet of icing. Oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm going to get toaster strudels tomorrow.
So.
You know what I had? Speaking of, I had a banana bread Pop-Tart the other day and it was fantastic. I loved it. I don't eat Pop-Tarts often, but that was good.
But in terms of my thoughts on the best in show skins, I just I like them just because I like purple, and I think we should see more different colored skins, and I think purple is one of those.
Yeah, Prince would approve.
Yes, it's very Prince, and I'm okay with Purple Rain. So
yeah,
I was just thinking what my problem is with specifically with the paints like this year. This looks so. I'm going to use that slightly stupid word, alien to me.
Yes.
Like this is something I totally want to see on a Xi'an or Banu ship, even. Or and maybe Jail is going to scold me for saying this because maybe this is totally off brand for Xi'an. But I'm an late 80s, early 90s kid, and I grew up with the sort of science fiction that has less colorful colors.
Yeah.
So anything that and that's just me personally talking, right? And I'm not saying this. I mean, these are pieces of art and they're really beautiful. But personally, I like to fly the kind of colors that keep me inside my little
immersion
Babylon
bubble.
5, Deep Space Nine bubble, and doesn't break the immersion. Like anything too colorful kind of breaks my immersion. And that's also honestly like without getting too much into it, like stuff like individualized colors. Yes, we all want those hex codes, right? So we have full control over what our ships are going to do. But I mean, the more control you give the players, and this is going to be super controversial, I know. The more control you give the players, the more the players will have an influence on the experience of the game, right? If people want their rainbow paints, they're blue and purple and what have you, that's going to influence the world we play the game in. And I think on the one hand that's really cool, and I want to see all the rainbow flags all the way. Let's go.
Yeah.
But then again, I want to be immersed in a world that's based on the actual lore that's been put out there already for the Star Citizen world. And I think there's a thin line they need to find the balance between the actual lore and then giving us the freedom of expressing ourselves in the game, right?
I've always had a big proponent of that kind of idea. Of something that I see is done in it's done in other games, but I think I've known it mostly for MechWarrior Online, where what they did was they took like the skins and they used those as patterns, and then you had specific patterns that you could then put colors in, but you had to like get access to those colors. So you either had to buy like a paint palette, or you could like earn it in game at a certain location, and that way you can get like those skins, those patterns as kind of on their own as well. And then fill out that ship or that case that mech like however you want to. I'd love that idea in Star Citizen where you use the skins as patterns rather than as paints, because that way you don't like have that clown car stuff where it's just like every other color is for every single part and that kind of stuff. So it keeps them within you got to color within the lines, but it keeps keeps that same stuff with with a little bit more flair to with giving people some more expression with that sort of thing. So.
Then again, before I get called out for saying what I just said, like at the same time now that I'm saying that, I'm wondering, is this just as white old guys like trying to protect like a bubble of like a like, you know, fond memories of this is how a sci-fi world should look like, when in fact everybody should be able to express themselves and get the immersion within the Star Citizen world. I mean, if there's people today who have cars that are painted in colors,
just
and
fantastic,
if we
wild colors.
Extrapolate from there, exactly. If we extrapolate from there, like in what is it, like 300 years from 900, right? 2953, 930 years from now, people are going to fly spaceships with Hello Kitty stickers on them, or you know, like why not, right? Yeah, I'm kind of.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. You want to have something where it's like, it's not like Call of Duty exploded in your face, or like Fortnite decided to vomit all over you. But at the same time, you don't want to like people have Hello Kitty gun skins, like actual like apply to like modern weaponry. Like people have the bright pink AR-15s, you know, that they own, sort of thing. So.
There's been that debate in the community for a while, like, you know, there's people who get on Spectrum and complain about the garish colors that people can wear in the game or whatever. And there's other people that, like, you know, say, well, that's, you know. And I even Disco Lando has, you know, Jared himself is, I remember in one of those threads, he said, I lived in LA for a long time. Nothing surprises me. So, I don't know. I mean, I get where you're coming from. Like, you don't want it to look so goofy that it's goofy, right? You want it'd be nice if they kind of controlled it. Like, I think one of the cool things that they could do one day, and it's kind of like what Braniff did in the 70s with Alexander Calder, the artist, right? He designed a few DC-8s, which is a plane, you know, the DC-8 plane. And I believe that he basically did a line, like he did basically designs for their aircrafts, like for the paint. So it would be kind of cool if, like, maybe, you know, like pay homage to maybe some of places like that, like Braniff, like old brand, you know, now defunct airline brands, to like work with famous artists, or like maybe CIG hires some interesting artist. That's some, you know, doesn't have to be somebody that's going to charge them $1 gazillion for it, but you know what I mean? Like somebody who would go, oh, yeah, I'd love to design like a paint for a spaceship that you have. Yeah. And do something weird. I would love something like that.
Yeah. That fits right in with things like Cousin Crows.
And again, it goes in with the theme of air, like the history, the real history of planes. It's themselves, planes and aircrafts. Because that's a thing that they've done.
All right, so we've got 3 more questions. And I do want to thank Loken joined us, and we had Soul Citizens join us earlier for those raids. So welcome from Soul Citizens and Loken stream. I didn't catch that earlier for the Soul Citizen stuff, and I caught Loken. So it's just like, yes, welcome everybody. Make sure you're checking out Buster the Destroyer, Buster the Destroyer on Twitch, Buster Destroyer on YouTube, Major Star Stuff everywhere, and Major_Star Stuff on Twitch. Check out their content. So, next question comes from M Walker 300, who asks, "Do you think we will see server meshing in game before next IAE?" Yes, I think so. Yes. What do you think,
for it.
Major?
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Do you think we're going to see? You got distracted.
Okay. I got distracted by chat. Sorry, got triggered by those harmony Bano paints.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yes,
great.
Do you think we will see server meshing in game before next IAE?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
Again, call me naive.
I
know this.
She's dying because there's somebody in chat named the server mesher, and they're.
I didn't realize you put that. I couldn't contain it.
And Buster's.
I know there's this huge debate that I'm not qualified to weigh in on, and I'm going to do it anyway. is server meshing required for the introduction of Pyro? Yes or no? I guess they could go down that route of introducing Pyro as, and I'm using words here that I don't even use how to use them in technical stuff. They could introduce Pyro as a, what have you, second independent server and have us load back and forth between servers without server meshing, I suppose. But from what I've seen and from what my friends who work in IT and know more about those things have told me, I expect server meshing to arrive before next IAE. Yes, I'd say 75, 80% sure, yes. Unless something goes totally wrong. I think from what we've seen, what we saw at CitizenCon already, that was impressive. And if we extrapolate from there, I think we can expect them to make progress down that path and then get it implemented before next IAE.
Yeah. Someone asked a question in chat as well. Carlos asks, do you know those BMW cars that are painted by famous painters, designers? I think those are called art cars. That's what they're called.
Yeah. There's various definitions of art car. I think you're correct in that one, but there's also like people who do art car parades who just do it themselves. It's not like it's not like it's sanctioned by the brand. It's just an individual.
I love those
art on their car.
There's a couple when I grew up in the East Bay for San Francisco, because hippies. But there's some wild cars. Like there's somebody who did like in a car that was entirely decorated from head to toe in like Catholic iconography. So it's like it had like a giant like altar to the Virgin Mary at top of it, and it had like crucifixes and rosaries and like all sorts of like vibrant colors all over it, and it would drive everywhere, and you could see like this little like dangling like almost like mini like disco balls that would kind of hang off the sides of it that would catch the light and everything, and it was garish. It was absolutely garish. It was over the top, but like it was
not something you go on a road trip in.
No,
yeah,
they would go through like parades every so often with it, that kind of stuff. So
I saw one, I think either returning or going to Austin from Dallas, that was completely like every surface that was like upright, like it was an upright surface, it was covered in Smurf. And like the license plate was something like Smurfs up. And then there's a guy famously in Houston. He's the owner of Nan's Comic Shop in the Houston area, and I doubt he still has the car. If he does, it probably doesn't work anymore, but he used to always ride in the art car parade in Houston with a Santa car, because it was like covered in like figurines of Santa, and he also was a Santa looking kind of guy. So he'd dress as Santa during the holidays. So anyway, our cars.
And why wouldn't people still be doing that in 500 years from now, 900 years from now? Oh my
God! Right? Could you imagine if there was like a little glue tool? Oh man! Or one of the things I've always said too, and I don't know if you've heard of this, Major Star Stuff, is I've always said it would be cool if CIG ever paid homage to the famous, wonderful Cadillac Ranch with like origin ships. Like, Cadillac Ranch is where they're stuck halfway. The Cadillacs are halfway in the ground.
Okay.
Yeah, you've never seen Cadillac Ranch?
I think I have. Yeah.
You've probably seen images of it. It's always like Route 66.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Andy Warhol did the 79 BMW M1. Yes, Carlos. Yes, but yeah, like I said, Braniff did the what is it? The C80s or whatever they're called. Something DC8s.
Yeah,
DC8s. Yeah, Calder did. But yeah.
All right.
That'd be cool.
Next question comes from Midnight Black SC. Okay, this is a paragraph there. I don't think it needed to be said that Squadron 42 features would have to be reworked to fit the PU, but some content creators took the news very negatively when devs on Star Citizen Live said it recently. Is this a problem with CIG's communication, or does it come down to unrealistic expectations on the community's part?
Wait, what was the thing that people were being negative about?
He's talking about not so subtly talking about Morph's comment about how like they took the news that it was very
Look,
that he felt like it was going to be a very slow year based off of that.
I said earlier, I made a brief comment about it, and I said I wouldn't make any comments on it, but I will make a comment on it. I deeply respect morphologists, but he's his own man, and I get that he has such a big influence in the community. So when he's being negative, it can like maybe direct a lot of people to have those feelings. I mean, we've had plenty of people in the community that have that kind of power and that kind of thing. And personally, morphologist didn't shake my hand and say hello to me, even though he follows me on Twitter at CitizenCon. So I don't give a fuck. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm just teasing. No, he did look at me in the eye and he didn't know who I was, which is fine.
To be fair,
but,
to be fair,
he came up, talked to Paul
Disco.
while I was standing right next to him.
Disco didn't know who you were either.
Well, I was in a wig that time. Actually, most would probably recognize me in Klingon. No.
We lost Major.
Oh no, Major, are you there?
I'll be right back.
I think he has to restart real quick.
He might be having internet.
Yeah,
because his voice sounded raw body.
Uh,
Yeah, no, Morph. Look, Morph has got a lot of power to do those things, and that's fine. And you know, personally, I wish it wasn't so negative on a personal level. But you know, again, I like the guy. I think he does great content. I just, yeah, I think he's a little cynical. I'm going to be fair.
Okay.
I'm just going to say he's being a little cynical.
So the question: do you think this is a problem with CIG's communication, or do you think this is just like a community expectations thing?
I really think that. I don't know. I mean, I don't pay enough attention to their communication a lot but I mean, I do and I don't. I try not to. I don't know. I don't know if it's a communication problem. I just think it's like it's just the way people are. Like he kind of has a tendency, in my opinion, to be a little cynical.
Yeah, I mean,
and he bases that on his own opinions and his own experience, right? His own perspective. Yeah. And that's perfectly valid, but I'm not one to say it's right or wrong on a factual level, but on a personal level, I wish he'd be a little less cynical sometimes. That's all.
Major.
And I don't think it's a problem that CIG creates always.
Using your own kind of marketing experience for this sort of things, you know, because often marketing and PR are obviously different, but like, you know, we have some crossover. Do you think that the idea of like kind of like this communicating that, you know, when CIG said, hey, you know, a lot of this stuff is not done yet, and kind of people got kind of, I think it wasn't just Morph, but there were other people who got kind of negative about like, oh, so they just lied to us. It's nowhere near complete, and all these sorts of problems are still happening. Do you think that this kind of miscommunication is an issue with CIG's own communications, or do you think it's a community problem? Where do you think that might lie?
It's a good question. I hesitate to react to it like impromptu right now because I'm not deep enough into that specific controversy that I would feel qualified to comment about it. Also, I don't want to ruin all my chances to potentially get involved with CIG's marketing and brand department in the future. I think Star Citizen is such a huge project with so many. We've got so many different people in the community, in the content creator community, in the people, the supporter community, the player community, and there's so many different stakeholders, right, within CIG, the developers. That we've heard Buster, you mentioned earlier, like even something like that to us. Consumers only appears as, oh, there's a video for Citizen for IAE, this influencer thing. We don't even, unless we know a little bit of that background stuff, we are not even immediately aware that, oh, this was not done by the motion capture team. This was done by the
gameplay capture.
Yeah, the gameplay capture, and not by the video team. And I think that's true about a lot of things, and that's something that inevitably will make communicating these intricacies very challenging, and keeping in mind who's the target audience, whom are we talking to? We talk our target, basically if I were CIG marketing, I would be like, okay, our target audience is like twofold at least. it's our investors of sorts, which is the player base, more specifically, all the whales, the concierge players. Then we've got the content creators, who are probably also all concierge, but never mind. So anyway, we've got to try and explain things in a transparent way, but at the same time in a way that also manages expectations and doesn't start those shitstorms. I'm really evading the question here, but
it's okay. I know you're trying to get around with it, because like I'll step on it. I'll step on this and say I think there's only so much you can do when you're trying to communicate with an audience, especially with the project as complicated as Star Citizen is. And Disco Lando himself, and I think this is just kind of a thing that the entire company kind of does, which is Disco Lando himself said, "I'm just going to let developers talk. And I'm not gonna make them, we're not going to muzzle them. I'm not going to try to come in and say, oh, this is what they mean. I'm just going to let them talk. Give them their voice so they can explain it." Because, someone like Jake, I love Jake, but I know Jake themselves would say right off the bat, they're not experts at everything the CNG does. So they're translating words that are said by experts, which Jake may not have a full 100% of exactly what's going on. So Jake's going to let them speak for themselves for like a monthly report, rather than trying to interpret it and kind of read the tea leaves and translate it for people to understand. You're going to get the jargon. You're going to get it slapped on you, because that's how you have to understand it. And I think that sort of discussion can often lead to misunderstandings, where to somebody at, say, the team that's doing the HUD team, right? They're looking at something and saying, we're not even close to being finished. And people go, oh, that means it's going to be 3 years before it's done. But for that team, it's like no. It's, March. That's 6 months from now. That's so much time. I've got so many things. Like my Jira list is freaking amazingly long. I need to figure out how to fix all these problems. And so they're being honest about their own situation at that moment. But for them saying it's going to take us a long time to get it done doesn't mean the same thing as someone who's been following the project. And I think some people can take their own personal experiences and their own kind of pessimism, and that can go way too far compared to like what was actually meant. So, and it's,
I think
it's
contextualization is important, right? And
yeah,
I think bad marketing is marketing that, sadly, it's marketing that works, and I'm not talking about Star Citizen here. Sadly, bad marketing a lot of times in the system that we all exist in, without going into capitalism bashing here, but bad marketing works. The best marketing in terms of selling your product is most of the times what I'd consider unethical, which is straight out borderline lying towards people in order just to sell your product and then throw the money at you. I think good marketing at the other end of the spectrum is marketing that's honest, that's transparent about where you are at with your product or the development of said product, and giving your target audience the context they require in order to understand what you mean by what you say. And then, so I think what they've been doing with just allowing the developers to talk, I think it's great. I think it still requires a mediator of sorts in the form of Jared, I suppose. And from what I've seen, that's what he's been doing. Right? Often, so just for the audience, and then look at the camera and be like, this of course doesn't mean this and that, but it means so. I think that mix of getting the authentic voices from within the people who actually get the job done, and we've seen being super passionate and really, really so good. Huge shout out to all the developers there, right? And who are doing an insanely great job getting those voices, but at the same time giving them like that sidekick person who gets the message across and contextualize and translate and make sure that it reaches the audience, that some of them might interpret it this way, others might interpret it that way, and then some content creator or another may choose for the clicks or not to make a video about it. And I think that's Yeah. But
Yeah, I agree.
let's not go into.
Yeah, we can be upset all day at like videos or people with negative or like and there's definitely people with, I would say, more maybe cynical opinions versus negative opinions. To me, there's a difference. Cynical is understanding what's going on and being not hopeful, whereas negative is just straight up, negative. It's just negative. But the point being that at the end of the day, we're always going to have people in and out of the community that have negative, cynical, optimistic, or overly excited content, right? Like there's a broad spectrum, and like kind of going to what you say about marketing, it's like there's always going to be that dynamic, and at the end of the day, I don't think that it's a fault of the company. I think sometimes CIG can do a not great job at communicating certain things in certain contexts, but overall they tell us what they tell us, and how you interpret that is up to you. But even then, I've heard of people at CIG knowing that maybe this person got it wrong in that video. They were misinterpreting the information being brought to them from developers, right? So, like you said, there's always a mediator, which is Jared, but at the same time, people can always just get the wrong.
Like the one thing
idea
that just occurred to me, I think the one thing that's maybe nice to keep in mind is that whether you take your information straight from CIG through Jared or from the developers or
from here, right? A place like this.
From here or from even larger YouTube content creators. I think what's important to keep in mind for the audience there is Star Citizen content creators are not journalists. Star Citizen content creators, each of them have their own agenda. Basically, the larger they get, the more it's their business. So they will have to find a way to appeal to their audience and to find a way, and I don't mean that in a negative way.
Right. No.
They will have to find a way to create a story around their content and the information they get, the news they get, to turn that into something that's entertaining, because YouTube is not like reading a newspaper. It's you want entertainment out of YouTube.
You gotta click it. People gotta click your videos in order for you to watch them, and in order to watch them, you make money. That's just how it works.
So I think the challenge goes both ways. It's CIG, their marketing, their community team, their challenge to get the information across, but also for us,
to communicate
the viewers. The viewers to keep in mind. Okay, so what is it that the streamer, YouTuber, whatever is telling me, and which part of this is the pure information, which part is what is an opinion or part of their storytelling, or to make it entertaining so that I'm not bored to death.
Or do they have using examples like Paul? Paul has some expertise in the game's lore because he puts a lot of time learning about it. Right? Or you have somebody else who puts a lot of time in understanding the development process, right? Like there are different people that have different skills and talents. And so it's like, if you're watching my stream and you're watching my stream to get news on Star Citizen, honey, I push gurneys in elevators. That's, I'm a, be aware of where you're the skills or the whatever, the talents and skills of a content creator that pertain to what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right? Because Paul, again, using Paul as an example, not only is he really super into lore, but he literally teaches history to children. Right? He is somebody that is trusted to teach children basics of history that they should know, hopefully, according to whatever textbook is in that state.
Yeah.
So, but the point being, he is somebody who professionally, he literally teaches for a living. So wouldn't it make sense that you're getting lore content from him because he has the means to teach it to you in a way that's interesting and also entertains you. So be aware of those expertise among content creators.
Yeah, and by the same logic, I can appreciate someone who may have a background in, say, architecture, to
Yeah.
give their opinion about the design of starships.
Like
right?
Morph, yeah. Like Morph's
Exactly.
great at that. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like when I want to like think about that, of course I watch his channel. Right? Like think about it, like, you know, be as the viewer too, take the responsibility of thinking for yourself in ways where you can listen to somebody yak on about this and another person yak on about that, but then you can also go read whatever information you need to read about that, and then, you know, decide.
And when it comes to the development, I think there's a lot of I don't want to say underrated, just a lot of content creators that fly a little bit under the radar, who have that expertise or background in IT and in game development and stuff like that, who've been making great videos to, you know, interpret and help us understand what that means, what that CIG just
I mean,
said.
Angry PC Tech was in here earlier, and Angry PC Tech works in that kind of stuff. I'm trying to think of what's Rick. Why am I blanking on his name?
He's a guy.
He's a guy. He's definitely a guy.
Well, if you think of him, we can always.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Ray's Guide.
Ray's Guide.
Yeah, Ray's Guide.
Yeah, Ray's Guide, who does content like that kind of stuff. So yeah,
I just subscribe to him.
You know.
But like just be the kind of viewer of people, like support the content that you feel obviously is what speaks to you, but also always be looking, right? You never know. Like there's somebody out there right now that is a motherfucking hoss that you don't even know about, right? Yeah. There might be somebody that in 2 years is going to be the top of this category because holy crap, they're amazing. So always be, you know, think about this, like, but always be looking.
I love lore, but you know, there's one person who will outbeat me in very specific lore and other aspects of lore for an entire time, and that's Jail. Like Jail, right. Like I will look to Jail if I'm like, what's the name of this UEE capital ship? It's like it was mentioned once in a passing. He'd just be like, "You mean this one?" I'm like, "Yeah, that one. Thank you." I will turn to Major Star Stuff if I see a brand new word because I'm like, I have no idea what this is. In the future, I'll just be like, Major, please tell me what this is. What does this mean? How do I pronounce it? You know.
That reminds me of something my wrestling coach in high school used to say, and he used to say, if I'm not finding wrestlers that are gonna whoop your butt once in a while, I'm not doing my job.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
And that's things to keep in mind when it comes to like
and
like to bring it back all to this topic. It's like there's at a certain point, like as somebody who did marketing research in the past and has done marketing kind of off and on through this job that I'm doing here, or not really job, but like hobby I'm doing here, and interacting with folks in that kind of industry. I do not like. I don't know how CIG's marketing team functions because they get paid almost nothing to do a job that is never been done before with an audience that's a very particular audience in terms
anybody
of like
that works in online spaces like that. Bless them.
It's like I don't.
Especially be kind. Remember to be kind creators. Too on Spectrum, please.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like to blame marketing for like everything because it's drilled into you by video game companies. So
every time the community gets mad at a sale, the marketing team.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like at a certain point, CIG can do everything they can, and people are still going to maybe even intentionally misunderstand what they're saying. Because it just makes it better. As Major said, you have to look at the sources. So
it's like I always said, it's like the Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah.
You never win.
At a certain point.
You can't win once in a while, though. You can't. You did.
Yeah.
You kirked it. Actually,
but
Scotty it once in a while.
But the oh gosh, what am I trying to say?
Sorry.
No, I'm trying to think about what I was saying. I think it's a discussion that has to be had in terms of the broader scope. That's not just marketing. It's the community team. It's the social media team. I'm sure there's a PR. I don't know if there is PR, but there's almost certainly some sort of PR team around there, which people say marketing, but marketing isn't PR. Two different things.
Yeah.
Please
Public relations.
If there isn't a shameless shameless self-promotion. I'm kind of in between jobs, so hello.
CIG.
CIG. Hire the guy in the
Yeah.
cool uniform.
The person who knows Banu.
And require everybody to dress like that.
Yes.
I approve that message. Thank you.
If we believe it's Star Trek, it will be Star Trek.
So let's move on to the last question here for this one, because I think it's a little heavy question to end on. But this one is from Indofrofro, who says, "Do you think the first wave players upon release will be restricted to starter ships for a while?"
What do you mean first wave? Like first wave of new players?
Yes, brand new players.
Okay.
That would be a great for playability at the beginning and a reward for earlier backers. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say no. No.
That kind of ties into the question: will they stop selling ships on the website, right, when the game releases?
But I mean, they've already
the
said
question is old as time.
Do we really want to get down that rabbit hole?
I think CIG has been very clear that they'll always sell game packages, and I think there'll always be different levels of game packages. Yeah. So even if they stop selling ships, even if they do, which I don't think they will, but even if they do, then there will always be someone who could pull out the wallet and be like, "I'm gonna get myself a Connie package," and just boom, get that sort of package with a Connie. So
context to people again that are a little newer to the community. There was basically a long time ago, CIG said that once the game is released, they would not sell ships anymore. Like they'd be done with that part of the game, and then from then on, you got to earn it in game. You got to do this. You got to do that, right? And then people that pledge keep those ships permanently. And that way, in a way, it sort of rewards the early backers and everybody that backed it before release. And then the people who came in on release, they have to work harder at playing this game. Which, personally, I think that I don't think that it's weird because I feel like they shouldn't sell ships. Like, I don't think every ship should be available, right? Because we don't get them all available at all times. Not that I'm like one of those people that's like, I had to suffer Saudio, right? Like, I'm not trying to be like that, but I'm saying not even at this stage do we get every ship open to us to buy at any given time. So I certainly don't want that to be the case. I don't care if they continue to do stuff like promotions, like around Koromor, they do the Heartseeker and things like that. But it would be nice if they did restrict certain, especially big ticket ships.
Yeah.
Personally, I think they should. I think Krakens, like Capitals, should not be buyable upon release. I think that early time backers should be rewarded for their capital purchases. But
maybe with an exception, maybe the Carrack. I feel like
I feel like the Carrack
up to the Andromeda start. You know, all the basic ones up until the Andromeda plus the Carrack. Maybe it should be twice the price that it is now, as a super high end thing that you can buy. It's going to be such a controversy once people realize, they actually keep selling ships, because I'm 100% convinced they're not going to stop selling ships entirely.
Yeah, no, it makes too much money.
It wouldn't make any sense to stop selling them.
And somebody in chat said CIG did not realize how much that would be, lucrative that would be at that time. Now they do. Yeah, I get it. They shouldn't stop selling.
They shouldn't, but they will have to find some sort of middle ground, right? We'll stop selling, as you said, the limited ships. Those were time limited, exclusive to early backers and supporters. You'll be able, as a new player, post release, you'll be able to pledge these 10 ships that come with a starter pack, and that's it. Everything else is earnable in game, or maybe restricted to special events or something. But I think that would be a compromise that then also PR and marketing could still somehow manage to communicate without causing too many shitstorms.
Starters should always be available. Fighters, I think a good portion of fighters should always be available, because for fighters, they're like bread and butter. Everybody should have at least one fighter. Working vehicles, sure. But at the end of the day, they also have to be available to be earned in game. And I think plenty of players would probably find even more fun in earning ships over time, right? Like making the money to buy them with their friends or whatever, pulling together. But I also think org play comes into like you can't have that discussion without talking about the future of orgs. Because what's something else that they've told us in the past? Like you could basically have org fleets. Like if I'm not playing, I don't know if I may, but correct me if I'm misunderstanding it. But from what I've always been aware of is like one day, like I could have an org, and if I'm not online, I put like a specific ship as available to the org, they could pull it out as members of my org. So I think that org game, like really getting into how org gameplay is going to work in game, and the mechanics of orgs, I think that is going to have a huge influence too. Because, I mean, you're a new player, and I run into you, and I think you're cool, and I say, "Hey, you're new. Why don't you join my org that I've had for like 15 years, and before I had 4 kids." You know, like let me get you in my org. Not that I have any kids, everybody, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, like I get you in my org, and then I tell you, hey, by the way, because you're a member of my org, like I have 3 ships in the org, and then like Bobby over there's got like 15. You know, everybody there's like literally, if you want to fly anything, it's there for you to try out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I also think
org gameplay can influence like people's purchasing habits in the future, if that is how it's going to work.
Roy, no, the IAE is not over until the 30th, but today marks the last day of like new sales. There's not going to be anything other than the best in show for the rest of the week. There might be some other surprises, but we don't know. So
maybe some surprise war bonds, special war bonds.
Yeah, or like CCU chains and stuff like that that'll pop up. So, but yeah, I agree. I just don't think like CIG will find ways of making money. And I think ships are just too valuable. And I do like I believe that CIG will continue to make ships that they'll sell to backers first, or to sell to the players first, and then they'll release them in game. And you know, like people will be able to have the option to purchase them before they come out in the game with actual cash and those sorts of mechanics. I think those are going to stick around. But I agree that I think they need to kind of pull back on some of the ship sales when it comes to significant stuff, because at the end of the day, it's not difficult to earn ships in game right now, and I think CIG still wants that to be the case. Like in the distant future, they want to make ships a challenge to get, but not impossible to get. And you know, if you play the game long enough, it doesn't take that long to earn a ship from a starting ship on up. So.
Well, somebody in chat is asking, so why shouldn't we be able to buy ships like the Kraken?
Yeah, I saw that as well.
Yeah.
You know, here my best answer to you is if everybody and their dog has a Kraken, what's special about it anymore?
Yeah.
And I mean, I know some people get into like, I don't believe in like what is it, artificial rarity or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Scarcity, artificial scarcity. And I get that point. But like if everybody in if every kid in the neighborhood has like the best super soaker, then how am I gonna like be cooler than them? No, I'm just kidding.
Stand out.
You know, but again, it's for me, it's like there should be ships that are scarcer, because it's just like in the real world, like you don't see not every boat in the water is a carrier.
Yeah.
There has to be diversity, and the thing is I know people wouldn't always drive Krakens, but like, but you know, I also just feel like, yes, like we were here first. The people who were here first should have something, like little things like that to help. And I know like already owning ships is one thing, but like there should be, I don't know how to put it, but you know what I'm saying? Like
an advantage to being an early backer, some sort of nice way saying thank you for being an early backer. That's not just like I showed up on day one and I didn't put any skin in the game. Here I go.
Like, I don't think it should make the game easier to play for us by any means. No. I don't think pay to win is a thing I care for. But at the end of the day, like, you know, I've been chucking at this for 8 years now, and like some 12-year-old kid's gonna like go grab his mom's purse and like buy like a $1,200 ship. Also, I think that too, those big ships can also like the price tag on another end. That price tag is frightening to somebody who has no context. And I think that would also give them like people that are going, "Whoa, are you serious?"
$2,000? No. What kind of game is this? If you're selling $2,000 ships,
I mean, if
I
you're
don't
told,
respect it.
if you're told, I'm still thinking about, I want to make a LinkedIn post one day, like, and be like, okay, so within the gaming stuff there, like, oh, there's this game that I spent more than $1,000 on, and like, be
Yeah.
like people outside the gaming or the Star Citizen bubble even will be like, is that
What?
person insane?
Yeah. So, 1,000?
But like this, I think this whole, because I see chat going back and forth, like about the especially the capital ship stuff. I think that's going to just solve itself. I think,
Yeah.
and it's something that just recently this week I had my, you don't want to know my Excel sheet that I made about, okay, which CCUs do I have to get? Do I want to secure? Okay, I want to get to the Perseus, to the Odyssey, to the
Right.
Hammer, to the Polaris, so I can lock all the prices in. Maybe I want a merchantman because I'm the Banu guy now, but is it really the kind of ship I want?
It's like one of those 90s
Anyways.
hackers movies. You're like, whoa.
I ended up, so what I think right now, yes, it is feasible somewhat to, for example, we had the example in chat, and I'm going to out myself as I'm a huge solo hammerhead flyer. That is something you can do right now for the goofy effect of it, and it's feasible. But in the mid to long run, as most of us probably are aware of, it's not going to be sustainable to solo those capital ships. Most of them will require a lot of players, like to fully crew. Yes, there will be AI blades, and you'll get. I think the two of you will know that better. There's that post from I think 2013 that promises people with additional starter packs to get free NPCs for a starter pack, right? Which is why I don't need a starter pack. I'm going to keep one just because of that. But still, how efficiently will you be able to run a capital ship with just NPC and AI blades? Probably much less efficient and competitive than a fully crewed one. So I think that's going to be figured out one way or the other. So this even if everybody, their aunt and their dog have a Polaris, there will be more capital ships and everybody will be okay. I've got a Polaris. I need crew. I don't think just because everybody owns a Polaris or a Kraken, for that matter, we'll see all of them out in the verse all the time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I agree. There should be some scarcity, or at least have that scarcity just by the fact that some of those ships, or a lot of those higher tier ships, you can earn in game. Yes, if you make your 300 billion credits to buy that Kraken, and then find a way how to pay for the fuel and the missiles and for what have you, right?
If you pull all that time and effort, you deserve it, right? You 100% deserve it. Now, I mean, I know maybe even some people would argue, well, why does an early backer deserve it if they didn't have to earn it? Well, again, that comes down to early backer. That you've answered your own question. Like, you supported this project to make it even happen in the first place.
We're not buying the ships, right? I mean, there was this where was a quote that I saw the other day? We're supporting the project first, and we're getting ships as a kind of. I mean, a lot of us are like, oh, I need to optimize my CCU chain to get the most out of it. But at the end of the day, we're supporting the development of a game.
And also,
I
was just gonna say, scarcity is also driven by price, too, on some of those ships.
I think to wrap this up, because look at
that escalated fast.
Yeah, it's passion. I'm liking it. I like that.
I always love that age old debate, because it's an important one to have and to think about.
Yeah.
Do we have the answers? Are we the people who are gonna answer that question for you? No, we're pontificating. No. We're giving our feelings about it.
Philosophizing.
By no means should you ever go, oh, that's what CIG is going to do because Buster, Paul, and Major said.
Yeah.
So don't take.
But the last thing I'll say to kind of wrap this up, a lot of this, because someone popped in and said the wonderful thing of pay to win, which is, I hate that word because of many reasons, but one of the things that a lot of, I think even Mike, the saltiest of the Mikes has talked about, which is, this game has two currencies, and a lot of people don't realize that. One is UEC, being able to purchase stuff in game. Two is reputation. And CIG, the one thing that CIG has been consistent on, and I hope they can continue to be consistent on, is that reputation is going to be much more of a gameplay loop than people realize. And a lot of stuff is going to be locked behind reputation. So you may be able to pull out your credit card and go like, I got my Kraken, I'm done. But like, not only do you have to worry about crewing that Kraken and making it function, but you may have garbage components on it that you then need to replace with better components. But you're not going to get those better components unless you do this special mission chain with this group.
Yeah, what if you bought it used?
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of other factors in terms of gameplay that CIG has already talked about and already started to bring into the game. That, like, the question at that point becomes: is it worth it to pull out the credit card, or is it just buy that Aurora and kind of work your way up? There's so many other factors in that. So, anyway, that's I think they're gonna wrap it up there because I could get some food and it's probably like 3 o'clock in the morning for Major.
May or may not be. Yeah.
So and Buster's got to drive home at some point because you're at your office, right? Not
I'm
house.
30 minutes from my house. Yeah.
So, and it's dark. Thank you so much for hanging with. Huh?
I saw somebody on the way here today with their top down on their convertible, and it's a little chilly outside, and I'm like, what is wrong? Sorry.
No, it's. I mean,
Texas is a little chilly right now, so.
Oh, my camera just died. Yeah, my camera just died. That's definitely the sign it's got to go. But
all right.
Anywho, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Make sure you check out Buster on Buster the Destroyer on Twitch, Buster Destroyer on YouTube. Make sure you check out Major Star Stuff on YouTube as well, especially for their brand new content. And if you enjoyed this, please hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below if you watch this after the fact. And comment down below your thoughts. And as always, like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.